Hey, Redders. I just wanted you to see your Facebook post.
Is it cheap already?
Well, only from the person who posted it. It's very valid, though. It's actually...
YouTube doyen. Okay, very good.
Podcast doyen.
Sorry.
Podcast and YouTube doyen.
Thank you.
We'll have to give your podcast a plug today.
They're getting good feedback for the podcast.
Yeah, no doubt.
Especially going on to Spotify, and you will notice that I do put a disclaimer on every single one of them. Well, it means that there's no questions asked.
Sure.
I'm not speaking
It's
on
independent. Yeah, it's good.
behalf. It's actually important. It's our opinions.
Yeah.
And if people know Dan and I, and they know that we're quite involved.
Yeah.
And now, no, we're separate.
Yeah.
Arm's length. If
It's
I'm
good.
asked to do an official one, we do an official one.
It's good.
Go on the live story, please. Live story, the microphone up there.
Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello.
Too early in the morning to be doing this.
I'll just take a photo of it. Have you, that side's on my cricket, that exact side, isn't it now?
Okay. Redders,
Yeah.
your on-off switch, if you switch up,
So up is on for the microphone, so we'll turn it off to start. I've got to sit down.
We are now turned on. Camera.
I'm on.
Give me a sound check.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ganninan, Foster, Foster, Jenkinson, Hainsworth, Guest, Muddle, Cooper, Bailey. Check 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ganninan, Foster, Foster, Jenkinson, Hainsworth.
Yep. That's good.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Aaron Gray and David Redden here with you at Lynn Oval and Stockton for the first of the triple
Not
header.
online yet. Sorry.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, from Lynn Oval, where we're covering today the first of the triple header here at Lynn Oval, with Stockton Northern District playing Belmont. Aaron Gray and David Redden here with you in commentary. It's a good morning to everybody. I hope you're all well. Great to see some cricket being played, and without any further ado, I'd love to introduce Aaron Gray. Aaron, good morning, my friend.
G'day, Dave. How you doing?
Mate, very, very well. It's great to be here, doing what I love doing, certainly sitting here gibbering and talking. I've got one of my good mates here with me to sit there and talk some cricket and get you through the next couple of hours.
That's it.
News from Lynn Oval is that it's the pitch is fine. They played cricket here yesterday. Outfield a bit damp, but it is early in the morning. Stockton's won the toss and are batting. Keith Moody and Nick Foster are taking opening. Dom Simons has got the ball for Belmont and will start off in the power play. Keith Moody's taking strike. And we're just about ready to go here at Lynn Oval.
The sun's just breaking through here, Dave, for first time this morning. It's good to see.
It's lovely. Then just hope it burns off all the mist and so forth, and we get some good cricket here today and get 3 full games of cricket. Of course, Belmont play Maitland second up, and then Maitland finish off in the afternoon set against Stockton at 3 o'clock. So,
Dave, have you been given any condition report on the wicket? It's dry. We're staying on time, obviously.
the wicket's fine. We got the covers on last night. Trevor Thomas, our curator, did a great job getting us on yesterday, and the wicket is fine. It was covered fully last night, Aaron. Trevor was down here at 6 o'clock this morning, get everything right. So just about ready to go here. Simon's bowling to Keith Moody first up.
Keith, of course, coming off a recent century.
For his first grade century.
Is that right?
Yeah,
right.
first grade century for Stockton. Yeah, he's made one in 21 this year, so he's had a big year. Second in the Newcastle run scoring at the moment.
Excellent.
It's good to see some new names up in the top of the averages. Aidan Cole, particularly for Newcastle City, has had a sensational year and a real breakout year for him.
Absolutely. Keith, wicket keeping for Stockton at the moment as well?
No, Jake Hainsworth will be keeping for.
Oh, Jake, sorry.
And
yes,
we'll talk about a bloke who's just come back to Stockton today. Jay Ganninen's also making his return for Stockton as well. Simons to Foster. That one's short and bounces. Foster gets it a backward point, no run.
Maybe a bit of pop there, Dave?
Was a bit of pop actually.
It's good to see Nick Foster up the order.
It is. Batted very nicely for New South Wales country under pressure in Canberra a couple of weeks ago in the series against ACT, Aaron.
What's his style going to be here? Is he up there to get on with it nice and early? I presume in the T20, but also himself elevating him up there with.
That's right. Probably having Ganinen come in at 3, I would imagine. Yep. But it's interesting here. Simons gets a bit of grip. He actually puts quite a bit of work on the ball, and he's wanting to hit on the leg side here because he's deep now, both on the leg side. Over here at forward square and at long on, he doesn't want to bowl outside off stump. Foster expresses that one to deep mid wicket, where plenty guesses coming, doesn't get the ball. None for 2 early on. And Simons has actually been in very good form for Belmont all season this year. Aaron, he bowls, as you said, he bowls a heavier ball at Carl Oval. The wicket's been doing a bit, and he's actually been very effective.
He took a 6 for, I think, just before Christmas.
He certainly did, yeah. And it's been opening the batting in the 90 over first grade stuff as well.
Oh, good.
NCC Summer Bash coming to you from Lynn Oval today. Aaron Gray and David Redden here with you. Moody gets that to backward point again, and no run.
Just to explain our camera angle today, Dave, if we can, normally we try and shoot as far down the wicket as we can, but with a bit of inclement weather forecast, we thought we'd sneak in under the awning here at the clubhouse and at Lynn Oval. So yeah, look, we'll have a different angle for you today, but hopefully we can add to that with the doyen, Dave Redden.
I don't know about this doyen business. Settle on. Keith Moody, a single. Good start. Great start to the over. Hello, Ronnie. How are you, mate? Great start for Belmont there. None for 3 for Stockton after 1 over. With thanks to the Newcastle City Council, Aaron, whose continuing support of this competition has been outstanding. It is the NCC Summer Bash, and you've got to say thank you when it's deserved, and their support has been outstanding, hasn't it, mate? Please talk to us about Newcastle City Council's involvement in this wonderful competition.
Absolutely, and not just of the NDCA, it must be said too. They're very big supporters, in particular, of this Festival of Cricket season through January in particular, but obviously the NDCA this year were huge benefactors of their support in our competition with the massive expansion of our competition as well. So yeah, really helpful to have them on board, and obviously supporting the City of Newcastle Summer Bash, as it's now been known for 4 or 5 years, with a contribution not only financially but also as their support throughout the year.
New South Wales country opening bowler Daniel Bailey from the bowler end. Chance for caught behind there. That one I'm sure has jagged away. And Dan Bailey very, very proudly making his debut for New South Wales country a couple of weeks ago in Canberra. He's been in great form for years for Belmont. And his step up last year, Aaron, was playing for the Lake Mac Attack in their premiership win in the Plan B Regional Bash, and he was the player of the tournament. Took 5 for in the final.
He was, yeah, and he's obviously been a long servant of first grade cricket as well. But yeah, it's great to see him get his rep honours now, and obviously, I guess, expedited through to the New South Wales country setup, which is a great achievement for him.
It should be a wide, it is, umpire Wade. Most unusual to see Marcus Hainsworth not out there keeping. Joey Gillard, who's a very, very fine cricketer, outstanding keeper, is keeping today for Belmont with Cussie having the day off. And,
Yeah, there's going to be a big loss for the Belmont team today, I would have thought.
he is such a good leader, and he's tough and he's hard, and he's very smart too, Marcus Hainsworth. He's got a very, very fine cricket brain. Hello, Cussie, if you're listening. Bailey to Moody. Drops one at his feet and Foster goes. Easy single there. Flynn Guest gets that one, but can't stop the single. No boundaries early on. Yes, Dan Bailey's really made a massive step in the last 2 seasons, and it was great to see. There are a lot of Newcastle players actually in Sky Blue, a lot this year. A guy who's played a lot of cricket with you, Nathan Hudson, made his debut as well. Ryan Ben Kemenade, Daniel Bailey, Daniel Arms also from Charlestown. They all made their debuts. Adrian Chadd was back in New South Wales country colours after debuting in Shepparton, and of course the New South Wales country captain is out there batting at the moment, Nick Foster on strike.
Yeah, it's well represented and has been for many, many years, of course, but it's great to see that continuing. Newcastle feeding into that New South Wales country system.
Now, cricket is the morning game at Townsend is off this morning. I was speaking to Phil Ranger. The 9 o'clock game has been called off due to wet weather. They're going to hope to get cricket later on at Townsend Oval. So anybody that's listening and watching, no 9 o'clock game. That's a quick signal. And he's gone. Dan Bailey, a quick single attempted there by Foster, and Dan Bailey gets the ball easily and runs Nick Foster out with a direct hit. So that should bring to the crease Jeff Gannon, I'm assuming, and it does. No, it doesn't actually. Looks like Jared Humphries is going out for Stockton. Young player coming down, lives in Port Macquarie, and is coming down to play for Stockton this year. And of course was co-captain the North Coastal Colt side in Tamworth a few weeks ago at the State Northern Championships in Tamworth. Foster won't be pleased with that. It was very good fielding by Bailey. Pick up turn and caught him well short of his ground.
Just a slight hesitation, I thought.
Yes.
He didn't back himself. As soon as he dropped it, he probably wanted the one, but just a slight hesitation and took his momentum off. Probably out by a metre or two in the end, but yeah, you're going to drop and run, you've got to go.
You've got to go. That's T20 cricket. And so people ask me, how do you think you would have gone? Because I didn't play any T20 cricket in my playing days, which was a long time ago. And I said, I think that the speed of the game, with me being slow, would have caught me out. I've no doubt I can hit boundaries and I could have bowled okay, but I think I would have been run out repeatedly. I think I would have been picked on the field because I have okay hands, but it's the speed of the game, and you see it when you see really good T20 sides. Often the speed of the game and the different fitness levels of the players and the way they play. It's a fast game, Aaron.
You've got to be fit for it. It's. I think playing 2 games in a day also is more impact on your body than necessarily putting 90 overs in the field because of the pace of it. You're constantly on the ball. When you're in the field, it's 20 overs, and you've got to those movements between overs even you're moving a lot quicker.
Yep.
But then obviously when you're batting, it's very very quick game. So you've got to be very busy looking for lots of ones, but also you've got to have your power game as well, as we know.
Lovely drive from Moody, gets it to the left-hand side. That was brilliantly fielded, actually. And Moody, however, scampers home for a single. Brings Humphries on strike. Early doors here, no boundaries all done. Belmont will be very happy with their first couple of overs in the power play. All singles, the scoring. Humphries now on strike. Bailey, who can seam the ball both ways, and he bowls very, 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 very clever slow balls. He's got 2 or 3 of them. One that comes out the back of the hand and one out the front. Humphries gets onto his back foot and pushes that one out to Flynn Guest at backward point. Easy single. And that's the over. Ray Cooper in the field now. Late arrival to the game, and out goes Cooper onto the field. Very fine cricketer, Ray Cooper, and let me tell you, when he gets his dander up, he can let him go. He can still be quite sharp. I remember when he was at his absolute peak, when he was playing representative cricket for Newcastle, and he was sharp. He was after Scuddy, he was one of the sharpest blokes around, I reckon.
Yeah, and I had the pleasure of watching him play for the Blasters there for a couple of years, and he was definitely nose and toes type bowler. You know, he really did have the batsman guessing. He was firstly economical, but also a chief destroyer in the T20 format.
Absolutely.
Because, yeah, like I said, nose and toes, it's Brett Lee tactic, isn't it?
Oh, there'd be a lot of blokes in Newcastle. There's one of them playing for Stockton today, Lucas Sargent, been badged by Ray Cooper. It's a bit of a thing with him. Because he's that shorter size, he skids onto you, and it's when you get the tall bowlers, they get that steepling bounce, Aaron. But when you get blokes of his height, the ball comes up at you. I'm pointing Aaron into his chest and ribs where his microphone is, and that's where Cooper. That's where he hits a lot of blokes.
Yes.
Change in bowler from the southern end. Luke Muddle coming on. Humphries on strike. The score is 1 for 7 after 2 overs. Early doors here at Lynn Oval at Stockton. Aaron Gray and David Redden with you. Bit of width there, but he gets away with it. Humphries misses the square drive.
That sun is really beaming down here now, Dave. It's picking up the humidity a little, but it'd be good to see this ground bake out a little bit. Really, really nice track later in the day, I'd imagine.
Yes, and the outfield will dry out. We hope we need it to dry out quickly. Dot the ball straight back down the pitch to Muddle. I have the hand towels ready for our blokes if we'd have lost a toss, Aaron. And because it's so damp out there, but this should burn it off. You hope
just
very quickly.
Just on that, you know, Nick won the toss and elected to bat.
I would reckon because the ball's going to be very hard to bowl to. Yep.
Sure. Let's get over that. Oh, is he out there?
No, it falls short. Uppish cut shot from Humphries there, and it hits the sweeper at deep forward point. Just a single to Humphries. So again, games today 9, 12 and 3, all covered on live streaming. Make sure you're watching during the day. That's a shorter ball. Moody rolls his chest out. This is the short boundary, although it's very heavy out there. That's 4. First boundary of the day, Keith Moody. So just to give you a picture, again, as Aaron's been talking about the camera angle here, the pitch is the second one in from this eastern side. So this boundary where we're broadcasting from is the shorter boundary of the two by quite a long way. And it's not that far from the edge of the ring to the fence. So it's probably about 65 metre boundary there. So it's going to be targeted all day. And Moody's just targeted it there. He's going to hit cars if that's not careful. Very large 6. That's into the pine trees and into the caravan park. So Moody goes whack, whack, 4-6 and gets the Stockton innings going.
That's a good hit.
Was, yeah. That's actually Aaron Gray country. You don't mind hitting him through there either, big fella, when I've seen you get it going.
It's probably about as good as I've got, to be fair.
You won't talk about it because he's quite a modest bloke, but I can tell you that Aaron Gray, when he hit a cricket ball at the stadium, big strong man.
Problem is I didn't hit him enough, mate.
Saw him do it a few times in Orange as well. Whack him.
I had a great time down in Orange, David.
They're a lovely place. Wide ball there, so they've gone 4-6 wide and really getting the impetus of the innings going here.
Puts the pressure right back on Muddle here.
It does. Hello to everybody listening up there, up in the beautiful part of the Central Tablelands. Aaron and I both spent a lot of good time up there. Lovely people. A bit cool in winter, but just a lovely place. Good country city. Moody bunts that down to mid-on. Not even an attempt to they just stopped the single there. Score is, that should be 20, I'd imagine, Aaron, with that single.
One for 20.
1 for 20 after
3 overs.
3 overs. That's a big over for Stockton to get them moving. We now get so much T20 cricket on television, and we play a lot of it here. What are the things that you see that when you watch the game, and you love the game as much as I do? What are the things that you see different about T20 that present interesting challenges that don't necessarily have, particularly in the slower forms of the game, particularly in the 90 over stuff? T20 opens up a lot of things, doesn't it?
I think there's far more need to have a batting plan when you go out to bat. I think when you're batting in a long format, it's really just about time and really simplifying things. But in T20, you've got to score, so you've got to be thinking about where your gaps are, how the bowler's going to bowl, and how you think you're going to score. So yeah, I really think the planning and the way you approach both your innings with the bat, but obviously with the ball too. I think captain and bowler definitely need to be in strong communication, but I definitely think the batting plan finds teams out if you're not up for it.
So Flynn Guest coming on at the bowling club, and I'll talk about the field in a minute. It's actually quite unusual for a medium pace bowler early on. You wonder if Moody's picked this up. That's a single there with a misfield. So just to give you an indication, the deep fieldsmen are a deep forward point and a deep third man. There is no one on the leg side fence at all. Aaron, that would lead me to think that Guest is going to bowl 7th or 8th stump line and try and make them play. That's another thing, is the bowler wants the batsman to hit to certain areas, and that's where his coverage is. So.
Yep, absolutely, and I think, again, that's the plan. Interestingly, though, I suppose it is the short boundary, so they're back in their execution here. That's 2 straight.
You can't bowl there with that field. Flicked off his toes by Humphries. And again, this outfield has had, people in Newcastle know, it's been quite wet during the week, last 3 or 4 days, so the outfield's quite slow compared to normal. 2 runs Humphries with a little flick off his legs, but he can't bowl that straight.
That's the execution we're just talking about in the plan. So if you're going to have that field he's got, with the coverage on the offside, he's got a 6-3 field, so really can't stray to the stumps at all. It's got to be very wide off. 2 straight again.
Just a single so far down to a fine leg.
Just been very fortunate there that they've just been 2 strokes along the ground. I think we wouldn't want to do that to Moody, given the over he had last over, getting the couple of boundaries away.
And he's actually got the ability to play in the air on the leg side with some freedom, Aaron, with 4 men in the ring. If he bowls 2 straight, he can just flick him off his pads. Walks down the pitch to him, hits it straight.
It's well fielded.
Yeah, saved 4 there. Single to Moody. Guest, who played his first year for Newcastle Colts this year up at Tamworth again and bowled quite tidily when given opportunities. Again, another guy who's got a lot of variety. Bowls good seam up stuff and can bowl slow balls at will. They've 25 for 1. Sorry, mate, go ahead.
Just going to say, they've brought some really young players through their system at Belmont. Some obviously...
Again, we're talking about the line and execution. He's bowled a short one, probably on middle and leg. And although there was a short fine leg, and Humphries has taken one and got 4 runs with that one. Aaron?
Yeah, just talking about the juniors, I guess, that have come through Belmont now. Toby Gray, obviously headlines had in recent years, but Guest, Gillard and the like, we've mentioned today. So.
And Muddle came through the same system. He played Colts twice for Newcastle. There's a lot of young players out here. Gillard's an absolute jet. He will bowl a long way in cricket, Aaron. He can play. Much better line of length, right on the Yorker length from Guest there. Executes well. Humphries can just get that ball out to Bailey. No run. It's 29 for 1. That's over. So Stockton go along quite nicely here inside in the last couple of overs of the power play. We're at Lynn Oval, Stockton today. Aaron Gray and David Redden covering the first game of the NCC Summer Bash triple header at Lynn Oval. So get on down to the ground. Barbecue working, bacon egg rolls on, and should be a great day of cricket here. NCC Summer Bash, with thanks to the Newcastle Council.
Very fortunate that we scheduled this game for streaming today, Dave. Obviously, Cahaiba Oval has been completely washed out today.
So Cahaiba's off completely,
yes,
is that correct?
Cahaiba's off completely.
That's most unfortunate.
It is, yeah, and Townsend Oval is first game only washed out at this stage.
That's what Phil Ranger told me.
Yeah.
So I did know about Cahaiba, I did know about Townsend. Phil Ranger was telling me that the square is quite damp and they'll do well. The weather that's coming now, if that's getting out across the mirror, that will help to Townsend. That will help them massively. Just scroll that up for me. It's Alex Cook's got the ball, and he looks like he's going to bowl on his hat. Right? Just realises what he's doing, and off comes the hat. So Cook to bowl, Moody on strike. Inside edges that onto his pad, down at his feet, no run. So once again, thanks for advice from Aaron there. So cricket at Cahaiba is off, and we'll wait further advice from Townsend Oval later in the day for the 12 o'clock and 3 o'clock games. At the moment, all 3 games looking like they're going to be on here at Lynn Oval. Again, this is the only game that got completed in all of Newcastle grade yesterday here. Late finish with some rain in the middle of the day, but the game was on. Boys did a good job getting the covers on and off. Moody a drive, gets it through the gap. Probably just a single. Is he going to look at 2? No, he's going to come back from 2. And quarters next week, big fella.
Yeah, it'd be
quarterfinals
very
NCC
exciting.
Summer Bash. I believe, if I'm reading the schedule, I think the games are scheduled 11 and 2. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, I think so. So there'll be, I'm pretty sure the makeup is 2 games on each venue.
Yes, that's what I think.
Yeah, so obviously the makeup of those fixtures is yet to be decided based on today's results, but yeah, certainly should be some blockbuster T20 cricket, which we've come to love with the Summer Bash.
Indeed, and then the players from Lake Mac and Newcastle will head down to Sydney in that evening because they've got the Plan B finals at the Great Sydney Cricket Ground the next day. That'll also be covered. Plan B Regional Bash, Monday the 8th of February. And first up, the first game is Newcastle and Lake Mac, which is fantastic. Great to see 26 of our best players being showcased. But again, NCC Summer Bash quarters next week.
Do you know if there are travel plans made? Are they going down by bus? Or are
No bus, because of the main reason is because players will be playing at different times.
Sure.
So no, travel down. We've got accommodation in Sydney and across the SCG nice and early for a 10 o'clock first delivery. Newcastle Blasters and Lake Mac attack. Of course, Lake Mac, the reigning premiers. Moody gets another short one and whacks it. One bounce over the fence. 4 runs, again erring in length and line. Stockton going along okay here. They've steadied since the unfortunate run out of Nick Foster.
Interestingly, Dave, just with the field that you were discussing the last over, so when they're bowling from the bowling club end, they look as though their plan is to, try and get it outside off stump and have your third man in your deep cover as your outfielders. And then obviously now bowling from the clubhouse end here, they've kept the guys out on those same boundaries, but they're now on the leg side. Over here on the short boundary. So, yeah, it's interesting. I thought they're not bringing the long boundary into play here. Maybe looking at executing that plan from this end could actually be a feasible way to go. That could be out.
That should be out.
Well held.
And taken. Nice, comfortable catch at deep backward square. Moody getting a top edge of that one. Wicket there to Cook. It'll be 35 for 2.
And what that confirms for me, mate, is I should never be a first grade captain. I'd say those blokes were well positioned out there on the boundary on the leg side. And,
well, it's a very good pickup. They're covering the short boundary.
Yep.
They're protecting the short boundary.
Yep.
And that lets him bowl at the stumps here, and he's got a wicket out. And interestingly now, striding to the crease, driving in from Perth yesterday. He drove all the way from Perth.
Wow.
Jeff Ganinian comes to the crease after an absence of a couple of seasons. Been playing cricket for the Fremantle Cricket Club in Perth, and Jeff will be playing today and playing for the rest of the season. He's back home, which is great for us, and a very, very fine player.
This could be very exciting if he gets himself in here. So tell me, what's Jeff's plan? Is he back now for a long period of time?
Yeah, he's home.
Yep.
And he's actually going to take strike here because they've crossed. That was the end of the over. Looks like Daniel Bailey with the pressure bandages there to take the ball. A change in bowling at the northern end. This should be the last over of the power play by my calculations. It is. Over number 6. No power surge in this competition. It's the regulation rules. No X factor. Wide ball to start off. Umpire Wade calls it. Yes, when we were down in Canberra, we played a couple of the T20s under the power surge rules. That was actually quite interesting. New South Wales country took advantage at one stage. I think it was 15 and 16 in the 2 power surge overs. I watched it last night and I thought that Perth did a great job in their power. They got 21 off the first over.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting change to the game. I didn't agree with it when I first started. I thought, not so much didn't agree with it. I wondered how it worked. I think it's been a good addition. I'm not a big fan of the X factor, but I certainly think that the power surge is an interesting concept.
It does change. Again, it's that whole strategy and tactic, how you apply it. Do you do it when the batsmen are set? Do you wait till the last 2 overs of the innings? You don't see it go the last 2 overs of the innings very often in the Big Bash.
No, you don't.
You see them use it usually when they've got some batsmen set in that early on in the last 10 overs.
Yep, 12, 13, 14 in there sort of thing. Gideon gets a short one and steps back.
Just a single?
Just a single to... Now, interestingly with Gideon on strike, they've whacked the bloke back on that square leg. So the deep fieldsman are a third man over near us and deep square leg. Humphrey's on strike to Bailey here.
I've got to say I prefer the plan at this end to bowl straighter, have that guy out there as a bit of protection. There's a little bit in the wicket. You want to be attacking the stumps,
I think it's sensible.
And you also, oh, that's well it.
Don't know if it's 4 or 6. He's got a lot of it. Carve lost the ball. And it's 6 bits. So 6 to Humphries. Gets the length he wanted and deposits it down towards the bowling club. This can be a dangerous place for cars, Aaron Greywood, on days like today.
You wouldn't want to be out having a social bowl on those greens today, I wouldn't have thought.
Well, apparently there's a band playing over here at 3 o'clock, and it could be actually quite a big day around here. It could be quite a lot of people here later on today. Hello, Ronnie. How are you? Ron Hancock with us, of course, the great man. Talking about doyens, he's our club icon, right? The club legend, Ronnie Hancock. Sitting here with us in commentary. Lynn Oval at Stockton. Aaron Gray and David Redden here with you. NCC Summer Bash from Lynn Oval in Stockton. Humphries buttons that down straight back to Bailey. Score check for you is 43 for 2. Clouds are actually looking a little bit ominous over there to the southwest, big man.
Yeah, that's a bad spot.
Yeah. Mrs. Duckworth and Lewis could get a bit of a workout later on today. Duckworth, Lewis and Stern, I beg your pardon.
So what's the inside mail on Humphries, Dave? Can you give us some insight?
Dice shell. In the pathways, Humphries on strike there, gets that to that deep field that Aaron Gray was just talking about. The North Coastal player wanted to come down and have a step up before perhaps moving on to Sydney grade. In the pathways, can seriously play. Great footwork, bowls good seam up stuff at a sharpish pace. He's not lightning quick, but he's good medium pace. Brilliant in the field and a very good bat. He's taken a long time to get going in Newcastle, but he's a serious talent, Aaron.
And how long's he been with the club?
This is his first season. He comes down each weekend from Port Macquarie with his folks. Single letter Ganinan. Wanted to play in Newcastle, and yeah, we're rapt to have him. He's a very fine player. As I said, it's taken a while to get going. We had a bit of a run chase against Charles Centre a few weeks ago, and he went out there with Nick Foster and finished the business and was very powerful. And very fit. And because he's been in the pathways, he knows how to field. And as soon as like Joey Gillard's another example, he's a very, very fine cricketer. And when they get in that pathways, they do things right. They power play being end of the power play being signalled there. Dom Simon's back on now. They can put 5 back, everybody, and I'm sure that Simon's will have at least 4 back. 45 for 2 at the end of the power play. That's not a bad power play for Stockton. And Belmont will be happy at getting rid of Moody and Foster.
So just quickly, we'll round out the Humphries discussion. Yeah. So he's obviously young if he's still in the pathway system.
Hasn't turned 18 yet.
Wow, okay.
Played in the under-18s for North Coastal, as I said. And his reputation is very fine, and he's very well regarded. He's a quiet lad, good lad. Fits in with the culture here very well.
And living down here or travelling for cricket?
Travels every weekend from Port.
Wow.
With mum and dad. So.
Yep.
Mum and or dad. His father was actually the manager of the North Coastal Colt side. Gary, lovely bloke.
Yep.
And, we actually played against him in the first round of the Big Bash, of the Plan B Bash. He played for Port against us, and we won the game. That was our first game. Up there at Oxley Park at Port. He comes down the pitch, gets the ball knee high on full toss, and just expresses it out to Guest.
Obviously, we're aware of Jeff's capabilities, but this season, only from reading what I read in the Herald a week or so ago, but he's been playing first grade in Perth at the moment. At a reasonable average, I think he was sort of mid to high 20s or something like that. But he's, obviously playing in Premier Comp over there.
Playing first grade for Fremantle. Enjoyed watching him on the television on the same sort of setup as this on live streaming. Humphries gets an outside edge for that one and gets it down to fine third man for a double.
Did he get a big score, mate, over there? Do you know?
No, not
or
a big score. No, not a big score. Okay. And interestingly, he looks very, very, very fit and very, very trim.
Yes.
And I know he's been very keen. He's been a pest on social media and on messaging, speaking to people. But it's great to have him back.
Well, Jeff obviously was skipper at the club here when no doubt going through some of the tougher times, which is always, clubs obviously go through that, but it's probably most exciting coming back with you guys doing so well at the moment. I too, probably spring in the step and seeing what even some of the stuff he did a few years ago might be contributing in some small way, at least to his success today under Nick Foster's captaincy.
It is great to have him back, and it just gives everybody that extra lift. And Tom O'Neill's come back next week. He's been injured. He'll be back next week for us as well in firsts. We've got 4 Saturdays in a row at Lynn, so looking forward to that. Single to Humphries. Simon's going along quite nicely here. It's again He has not given up a bounder in his 2 overs so far. Score check for you is 49 for 2. Now it won't be Barley, I wouldn't think. I think that's Alex Cook from who's changing ends, if he's number 22.
Definitely some
Yeah.
clouds coming back overhead here, mate. Hopefully they can just hold off and we can continue getting the game through.
Aaron was talking no more than 15 minutes ago about the sunshine that was beaming down. It's now gone. It's actually quite grey over to the left of your screen, which is where the weather comes from generally here. Humphries on strike here to Cook with Gillard standing up. Now I'm not sure if that is, or has Cook come back to bowl spinners, has he?
Short.
It's short, I beg your pardon. Short ball first up. Now he might come back for a double here, Humphries. And it's an easy 2. That's the long boundary. Short, who doesn't mind a tattoo. I bumped into him earlier on today and said g'day, and he doesn't mind a bit of ink. So
He was running around with his shirt off earlier and he's certainly inked up, that's for sure.
he certainly is. Short, very short that time. Now Humphries just got that down to a straighter mid-wicket. And gets another double. Field in the right position here, but Short cannot, and I'm not trying to be smart here, he can't continue to bowl that short because he's going to get pogoed over to the hill. 2 2s to start his first over. Short again. Humphries gets an outside edge straight to Luke Muddle first bounce. And makes Joey Gillard work. Joey Gillard's a very talented sportsman, Aaron. He was the best on ground in the under-17 local AFL grand final for Warners Bay in their victory over Newcastle City earlier this year. Oh, sorry, late last year.
Yeah, right, talented sportsman.
Oh, yeah. And super fit.
You don't see as many, I won't
Single
say you
halfers.
won't see any, because obviously Joey Gillard's an example of that, but you don't see as many kids come through these days playing multiple sports.
They can't.
Yeah.
When we were growing up, it was totally different. Now they're in training academies in November. You've got to make
And
a
all
choice.
sports are doing it, right? So they sort of...
Bowl short to get in, and that is not a smart move. That one does just roll into the fence. So forward to Jeff Caninian. He's dragged 3 of 4 down the track. And you know what? I'm wondering if that ball's a bit slippery. We were talking about it earlier, and you wonder if it's slippery.
It's an indication of the outfield there, Dave. Obviously, Jeff's given that a pretty good whack. And it's just fallen into the fence. But really puts an emphasis on what you do when your boundaries aren't being hit. Your 1s, your 2s.
Yes, it does. Over there, and Stockton taking full toll. 2 for 59 after 8 overs. Stocky going along quite nicely here. And again, it's great to be here with you, live streaming all day. Maitland making the trip across. So the afternoon set at 12 and 3.
A couple of familiar faces in that team, Dave.
Did I see Trapple J in the side?
Triple J, yes.
Trapple
he's
J.
there. Yep.
Seriously talented bloke. When he gets going, he's explosive cricketer. Geez, you can hit him. Simons again, get in with a short boundary here. Don't be surprised to see him take it on. That ball pops, and you can see that Jeff's got that on the stickers. Simons does bowl a heavy ball, Aaron, and I've seen this repeatedly with him. He gets a lot of work on the ball, and if there's a pitch with anything in it, he can actually get a lot of... he's quite a tall man. He gets a lot of disconcerting bounce.
The last ball almost handled, it's obviously come back. As you say, putting a lot of work on it.
Yep. Fullish ball, and get in, gets that to the sweeper on the offside.
I think he's 3 straight at this end. He's bowled, hasn't he? I don't think he's broken his 3 overs
I think he opened the bowling and then had a break. Muddle bowled one, and then I think this is his third.
Yep.
Humphries on strike to Simons. Get in and sends Humphries back wisely. And again, they're not taking Simons on. I would have, and I suppose that's a tribute to also his length. He hasn't given him the length to whack him across the line.
No, he has definitely not over-pitched,
No.
which I think is what they'd be looking to get out here, or obviously...
Or bowled half trackers.
Yeah, that's right, or obviously a drag down, but he's got his length right on a wicket that obviously is slightly tacky, and
Another dot ball. It's 60 for 2. Humphries is 24, Gannon is 9.
I'm just seen who's padded up to come in next there, Dave.
Trent Park and Sam Jenkinson are next to come in. Trent Park is the younger brother of bloke you might be familiar with, Jaden Park. We had a bit to do with Jaden Park up in Dubbo a few years ago, big man.
Yeah, still run
Colts
into
tournament,
him
Dub
occasionally,
Vegas. Yeah.
Always loves a bit of a chat.
Good man, Jaden Park, playing good cricket for Mosman down there in first grade. City. G'day, Parks, if you're listening, son. Humphries comes down the pitch, and that is an excellent. That's an excellent over from Simons. While my count says just 2 singles there, and it's 60 for 2 after 9.
Fascinating, the little things, Dave, but the 60 for 2 versus 2 for 60. I know Australia is one of the only countries, if not the only country, that does do it in reverse to the rest of the world. Do you know the background on that at all?
The background, I don't know. It's one of those questions, why did Australia have 8 ball overs and England had 6 ball overs? It's just interesting. I tend to call it the English way. I don't know why. It just comes out that way for me.
Yep.
From scoring, when I often score, I'm lucky that I'll get to score some of the best scorers in the state, and I'll learn heaps from them, I must admit. And that's really short and wide, and is called. I don't know the history of why it's done that way, but you know, whenever you watch Test cricket from England, it's always 60 for 2. Well done by Bailey at sort of cover there, stopping a single. Short's got to get his length right. He's going.
Yeah, certainly one of the hardest skills to bowl when the ball's a bit wet is this leg spin, isn't it? I mean, he's definitely got the challenge. I noticed they've taken the pace off here the last few overs. It seems to be the go. Most of the boundaries, if not all of them, have come off the quicks.
The ball pitch, but with the weather, I've imagine the pitch is just a little bit slow.
Yep. And
it's hard to score. And he's not bowling fast leg spin. He's bowling reasonably loopy. Although that one he's fired in a bit quicker. When you compare him with his former clubmate at Belmont, Toby Gray, who bowls very fast leg spin, Toby doesn't give you, he rushes you. Simons is, if you watch Get in and Humphries both very comfortable on the back foot, and Get in and's just waiting for him to make it a length there, and he can pick him off short. This is a bit fuller. That's an excellent length.
That's interesting what's going on now. Back pad there, it's just snuck in under the bat, but even the keeper lost it there for a few seconds.
He did.
Not sure what's happened.
That's again a much better length. Get in and trying for the slog sweep and misses. It's probably indicative of the pitches. That ball's bounced over the stumps, and often Atlanta won't do that. It has the reputation as being a reasonably flat belter, but there's a little bit in this today.
So, Dave, were you down at Monica Oval when Jeff went ballistic in that match at the end of last summer or the summer before?
Yeah, it was last summer. It was the curtain raiser of the Prime Minister's game against Sri Lanka, and I was in the press box, the brand new magnificent press box at the southern end of Monica Oval. That's short. That should be a wide. Not
very big appeal there, and called wide.
Well, interestingly, there were 2 superb innings. Ethan Bartlett, who's a superb cricketer, who's originally from Wagga, plays in Canberra, 88 off 38 rocks against us. And then Jeffrey went out and made this extraordinary 100. And like we had to chase 220, I think ended up finishing 10 runs short. And the Canberra people were just very enthused, and they said, we want to get you back to playing more cricket. That Newcastle's always pretty competitive, but Bartlett getting in his innings were just ridiculous. And Monica that day was a reasonably middle pitch. So Monica's a big ground. It's not just a long as you're always going to, it's wide. The footballers go to that. They always talk about the Giants players that I've spoken to. Your legs are tired when you play at Monica. It's hard and it's wide. And Jeffrey was, and fast outfield, he was just superb that day. God, it was good to watch.
Played a lot of Big Bash there this year at Monica. The Sixers haven't had a home game.
That's right. And it's it's a superb cricket ground. I had the pleasure of scoring with Pina Kidd from the Tuggeranong Club, who's also one of the ACT scorers, and she's been doing some Big Bash games. That's 6. That's the one you want first ball of an over. And Humphries gets that one away. Slog sweep. That's the first time I reckon that Simons has erred a little bit in length, and Humphries, now they can sit there, Aaron, they've got the first ball boundary, now they can sit there and move the ball around, they've got a big over.
Put pressure right back on the bowler here. I notice, speaking of pressure, that Hyundai Getz over there has just copped a little bruise in the side of it as well. So not a good day to be parked along that road, I wouldn't have thought.
I know Mr. Gray listened to me when I advised him to move his vehicle earlier on this morning, did I not?
I took your advice too.
Thank you, mate. Aaron Gray and David Redden here with you. That's a fully outside leg stump and should get the business, and does. So Simons for the first time under a bit of pressure. 2 for 74 now.
10 off the first 2 balls. Pressure right on the bowler here now.
Yeah.
Dave, we'll talk about this a few times throughout today, but let us know a little bit about the work you do with Dan Proudman and yourself.
Shall do.
Obviously, streaming a podcast through all your favourite streaming services, Spotify in particular. Tell us a little bit about what your podcast is about, Dave.
Single to Humphreys. I don't want to labour on it too much, but thank you for giving me the opportunity. Yeah, look, I started, just for something to do, I started doing some podcasts last year. The wife set up for me on Google, first of all, and I just started doing Australian Rules podcast. In fact, it goes back to last cricket season. I just started doing some reviews of NDCA first grade games and I just recorded it on a package I've got at home called AVS Editor, and I publish it through Google, and started to get some nice feedback from people in cricket. So I started to do it a bit in football season. We do it at AFL, HCC, and also AFL with my great mate Lucas Holmes there. And this year, that's 6. Jeff Kinnin's got one, and this is a big over now. And Simon's under pressure. So just started to do, and Dan Proudman said, I'd love to get involved with it because he was enjoying listening to the podcast because I did it on my own. I said, Prado, I'd love to do that. So we started doing the Prado and Redda's podcast. And Nick Foster came with the idea and said, Redda's, do you know much about Spotify? And I said, oh, look, Nick, I know that Spotify is what a lot of the young people listen to have their music on their phones. I don't know much about Spotify. I don't have music on my phone, single to get in there. He said, go onto Spotify and put your podcast there. So there's a platform called Anchor, which is Spotify's platform. So I record it, get everything done through Anchor, and put it onto there and load it onto there. So I've got my wife set up a thing called Redda's Sports Podcasts on Spotify, and just start doing it. And with the feedback, and the advantage I have is that Dan Proudman is a very, very smart man. First of all, he's been around Newcastle cricket for a couple of decades. He's been through all the glory years from Merriweather through their SCG Cup runs and all their premierships. And he's such an intelligent bloke. He knows everybody in Newcastle cricket. And I sound like a bit of a gibber, but it's great to talk with him cricket. We have Kinnin gets a full bunger there, hits it straight down the line.
Well, his knowledge and upkeep of current affairs too. Obviously, he's a journalist, isn't he?
He is.
He's at different times. So he's the
Superb
Herald.
memory.
Yeah, so his memory recall is probably the great thing. That's probably one of your great strengths too, I'd imagine. Your ability to remember things and the detail makes you guys a dynamic duo.
Thank you for that. That's very kind. And I'm also doing NFL podcasts as well with my friend Sam Zickman. So I've got to do NFL reviews as well. So got a couple of different sports here, and I really enjoy it, Aaron. It's I wrote articles for a long time in football, and I actually started to get a bit tired and stale with writing. But I find that with the podcast format, you can just sit there and talk and go through different things. And we don't have any notes. You just sit there and talk, bring the scores up, talk different things. But as I said, I've got a massive advantage in that Dan is such a great orator and a talker, and with a wonderful understanding. That's a fully. I think you got all of that. We'll give you a score update. Sorry, I've been talking a bit. I'll come up with a score. It's 90 for 2. Humphreys has quietly got himself up to 37 and Kinnin's on 24.
He might move to 43, Humphreys.
Wasn't that Jeffy who hit that one?
Oh, it's Jeff,
that was
sorry,
Jeffy.
yep.
Yeah, Jeffy's on strike. So Humphreys on 37, Jeffy 24.
I was that engaged in your your stories. So we cheekily was referred to earlier today as the YouTube and podcast doyen, but I think you're well on your way, mate.
Oh, thank you. It's look, thank you for the opportunity. I wasn't going to talk
You're
about it.
You're a humble man, of course you don't.
Yeah, thank you for that. That's great. But I do want to thank having Dan Proudman there makes the podcast interesting and real. And we're getting good feedback, which is lovely. Single to get in, and perfect response to a boundary 6 is to get that ball down. It's good, as they say, good cricket. Aaron, I will get you to talk in a minute. If you don't mind, if I can ask you to talk about this, I'll actually turn my mic off in a second. How it came to be that we've got these live streaming. Is it something that you come up with yourself? I know they do it in Sydney. I'd love you to talk with the viewers about how the live streaming came to be, because it's a wonderful service. Aaron Gray.
Yeah, sure. Look, the NDCA, I suppose, through Paul Marjoriebanks and his involvement down with Cricket New South Wales and on the country board, got wind of this being something that was going to be rolled out quite broadly throughout cricket in Australia and definitely within New South Wales this year. So all the premier clubs in Sydney pretty much subscribe to this. So it's It's a really neat tool. I think the visual graphics you get on screen are completely autonomous, which is great. Obviously today we're tapping into some commentary for the first time as well, but I just think it's great. The NDCA is trying to do their best to promote clubs and their teams and sponsors in the future as well, but just building a concept right now. It's a really easy setup, really easy to manage, and for me personally, it's keeping me a little bit involved with the game, and I'm getting out to see some games that I would consider neutral in my world. Obviously, not being traditionally from either of these clubs, it's been great to come here and look at this as well. And I think the viewers out there would get a better perspective by seeing some neutral cricket as well, rather than just always watching your team where you come from. And obviously, being club cricket in an amateur regional cricket competition, that's typically our only perspective. So I think it's great for the game to give some exposure, and it's obviously a link that can be shared and used post-game as well. It's not just live, of course. So I think it's great, Frogbox. So happy to give them a plug because they've been very good to work with. It's been a very streamlined process, and what we set up here half an hour before the game, and we're straight into it. So it's great.
Congratulations all. Kudos to yourself and to the NDCA for getting it going. It's a wonderful service. It's a privilege to be part of it actually today. I must thank Aaron. I did mention to him a couple of weeks ago when he called me about the live stream. He said, I'd love to commentate. And first of all, I'm not sure what you thought of me gibbering for a couple of hours, but I'm enjoying it immensely, and it helps me that I've got Aaron next here. We've go quite a way back together and shared some great experiences of cricket, and both love cricket, and it makes a big advantage. And he's got such good knowledge of Newcastle cricket and cricket in general, so it makes it very easy to commentate. Might be a leg by. Is there his hand out there, Aaron, the umpire, or do you get inside edge on edge? Yep, there goes the hand. Kieran Knight, one of the best umpires in the state. In fact, in all of New South Wales.
Pace back on here with Guest. Obviously after Simon's last over, just changing it up again here. So they probably want to try and reel this back in a little bit here, I would imagine, the Belmont boys.
She doesn't want to bowl the wrong length to Kinninan. Gets on the back foot there. If you watch his footwork, he went right on the back foot. Guest whips it into his ribs. That's a very good delivery from Guest. Just a single to Kinninan. 94 for 2 is the score in the 11th over here at Lynn Oval at Stockton.
So guest players for Stockton today, Dave?
None. All our own club, no guest players.
Excellent.
And of course the great Greg Hunt playing for Belmont, a former New South Wales country player. Has played with Belmont in Toronto before. Again, bowling on Humphrey's legs. However, Dom Simons is in the exact right spot at deep square, just a one bounce single. 95 now Stockton. Looking at a good score here with these two well set, 38 and 27. Humphrey's on 38, Kinninan 27. Guest bowling with a long on, long off, deep cover, deep square and a deep third man there. He's 5 men out. Again, Guest bowls that into the pitch and gets in and he traps him on that front foot again. That's actually quite a good over from Guest.
Definitely just holding in the wicket. I'm not sure if that's been picked up on camera or not, but definitely holding. I've seen a couple of times now. Jeff sort of almost punched it out of his stomach, he's just like, it's come back at him and obviously stood up in that wicket. So
I think I spoke about earlier in that over, one of the balls you could see him clearly go on the back foot to move his feet around. And that one he was sitting on the front stool. And Guest has picked that up, I'm sure, and got that into his ribs and trapped him, and he didn't have many choices. Yes,
if you get your length right, whether it be slow or your quicks here, I think that the wicket will, put some doubt in the batsman's mind to go through with what their plan might be. But you get that length right.
This should be his final over. Yeah, it is. Good length and catches Humphreys on the crease and misses a complete taken by Gillard. He just cannot afford to bowl short. He's much better off for the field he's got, Aaron, actually bowling on the crease or even a low full toss.
Yeah, I was just going to mention the field. So they've got their 5 out now, which obviously is a little under edge there.
Yeah, underneath edge, single, get in and calls him on. Now I reckon that Jeffy will be dwelling on anything. If this length's not right, look out. But yeah, the field long on, long off, deep cover, deep mid wicket. So he wants him to hit straight, Aaron, not square. Good length and get in and gets a sweep shot. Might be out actually.
Oh,
and it's dropped. Drops a sitter, deep
Absolute.
backward scare.
Absolutely bottled it. I'm not sure who that is out there. We probably won't shame them anyway, but that's a regulation sitter, that one.
Yep. Then gets away with one there. Humphries on strike to Short now. Short's got 3 left in his spell. And he got his foot back. Gillard was very quick at those stumps. You could just see Humphries' back foot just wiggle back, and I reckon he's got back by an inch or two. Speaking of umpires, wasn't there a blow-up last night with the Mitchell Marsh decision caught down the leg side? And I think they'll be a bit more said about that. I won't go sub judice here, but that was a really interesting one last night.
Yeah, I missed last night's games, unfortunately, but I did see a quick snippet this morning. The James Vince was on 98 not out last ball, and there was a wide bowl, and I don't know whether it's a bit of Foxtel hysteria or not, but they're questioning whether it was deliberate or not. You'd hope not. You'd definitely hope
that's not in the spirit of cricket.
No.
Seen it happen before, but I'd be big call to make it a deliberate call. And Short again. He's got the radar and give this over. His length's been excellent. That's actually a very good over for two men going well. Yeah.
That's his spell now. 26 off 4.
That's actually almost acceptable.
Very much
that's
so,
okay
yeah.
for a leggy. That's not bad at all.
Well, in tough conditions.
98 for 2 after 14. Yep, 14 gone. So 6 overs left. Stockton probably want to take guests back on here. I would think that Stockton at the moment would want 150, 160.
Yeah, I think so. I think with eight blokes in the shed,
8 blokes in the shed.
I'd absolutely think, you know, 160 would be sort of my lower end target. I would think. It really all depends how deep these set batsmen go in to the innings.
Now a misfield there is that I don't think it's going to go for 1 run. Now 2 for Humphries.
Yeah, I think if these two can bat deep, if they can go another 3 or 4 overs here and Gannon gets hold of a few, I mean, they could be really pushing 180. But yeah, obviously wickets is king here. If they get a few wickets, it slows it right up.
Interestingly, Flingast is running back to his marquee. You wonder whether they're slightly behind the 8 ball with the over rate. The over rate is critical in T20s. You've got to get your overs bowled in 80 minutes. Humphries actually stepped outside leg stump over here, and Guest, I reckon, put that ball a bit further outside off stump, and just plain missed by Humphries. Dot ball. 100 for 2 is the score, or in the Australian vernacular, 2 for 100 in the 14.2 overs gone.
So anyone who is streaming this, of course, which if you're listening to us, you would have to be, you can obviously just tap out of your main viewing screen and head to some of the insights, because there's a wicket there.
Yeah, there is indeed. Humphries going for a big expansive drive, gets a top edge and a nice catch by Gillard over his head. So that's Humphries gone for Aaron, please. 39, was it?
He's in 40s, I think.
In the 40s, was it?
Sorry, there you go. 42 off 40.
Good knock there from Gerard Humphries.
So yeah, I was just tapping out here, Dave, and just having a look at some of the highlights and some of the insights. So obviously you've got your run rate, worm and all that sort of stuff down there as well, which obviously all features within your My Cricket app, but it's fully integrated, which puts it all in one place for us. And obviously the Manhattan there shows a pretty consistent story, I would have thought. Quite a lot of overs there, sort of between 8 and 10, and one big over of 18, which would have been Don Simons.
That's right. Trent Park's gone out there to replace Jared Humphries. Made a very nice 42 Humphries. And interestingly, they've got one of Park's go-to areas is inside out over through cover, and they've got a deep, wideish cover and a deep long off. So he does like going in that direction when he gets going. I would suggest now that Park's main duty is to try and get strike to get in, if Stockton's going to get a very competitive score. Lynn Oval in Stockton, Aaron Gray and David Redden here with you on live streaming. Great to be with you all. Park does exactly that first ball, gets the ball down the square leg for an easy single. Gets Gannon on strike to Guest. Don't think Jeffy will go real hard now. He probably won't want to. He will want to avoid the wickets in clumps, and then have 2 new batsmen on at this critical juncture of the game. There's 5 overs left after this one from Guest. Just over 30 rocks left. Gets one on leg stump. Dan Bailey sitting back at right at the back of the ring at mid-wicket. And just to have an indication when you look at the camera, Dan Bailey's in front of us. And Dan Bailey is right on the ring. He's actually not very far from us at all. So gives indication that is the short boundary.
Yeah, you're probably under 60 metres, eh? You're probably more 55 metres to this boundary here today. So those cars that are just over the fence could be in some trouble later.
Guest throws that one outside off stump. That's a very good over from the young man Flynn Guest. Score check for you is 3 for 102 after 15 overs. So there's 30 balls left in the innings. Interestingly for me, I wonder if Ray Cooper's not 100% fit. Aaron, he hasn't bowled a ball. Not one. And I would have thought that he would definitely have bowled by now. And,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously was fractionally late to the game, which we don't have too much intel on, but yeah, you would have thought if he was able to bowl, he definitely would. Wouldn't be a tactical decision not to bowl him, so.
should be Alex Cook, I think. Alex Cook to come from the bowling club in here at Stocko. If any of you haven't been to this part of the world, it's a lovely spot. Literally the beach is 60 metres away from us here. It's a beautiful place. Norfolk pine trees to our right. Ginninan gets a full toss and takes care of it. Almost a waist-high bugger. 4 runs, Ginninan takes him to 33 in his first game back after a sojourn in Western Australia. He first lived in Kununurra and then ended up in Perth.
So just to give the viewers some idea, they've got 5 out on the fence here. You've got your third man, your sweeper at cover, mid-off, mid-on and deep square on the leg side.
Ginninan steps outside leg stump and Cook's smart enough to bowl him a fully outside off stump.
Obviously the ball before that one, Jeff just targeted that gap at mid-wicket there.
That telegraph pole is where Aaron's talking about. That's where there is no one, there's no protection on the boundary there. Joel Hardigan walking past us. Hello, Hard Guns. Ginninan comes down the pitch, gets one full and straight to the fieldsman at deep square. Ginninan into 34. Park back on strike now. I think Belmont's actually going okay here. They've had 1 or 2 overs where they've been big, but they've also bowled a lot of dot balls today and a lot of singles. We're talking about the tactics. They've actually bowled reasonably well to their field. There's a lot of balls gone straight to fields and on the fence, Aaron.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think the batsmen too, just struggling to get their timing. Again, the wicket got a bit of inconsistency about it due to obviously the weather we've had over the last week. But just means you can't get set at any time. And I guess when Stockton bowls, it could most definitely probably be still the same conditions. So, yeah, the bowlers, I think you're right, they've executed a lot better through this middle period.
Ginninan stays stable that time, gets that down to Bailey at cover, sitting on the ring, just a single. If you watch Ginninan's footwork carefully when he's on strike, he'll move his feet around. One ball, he'll go back. What he's trying to do is upset the bowler's length and not let them bowl in the same spot 2 balls in a row. That one he stayed stationary. Park on strike. Hits that one straight to Bailey at the back of the ring, and we're quite happy to give up the single there. Weather holding, the sun's come back out here, although I'm not convinced how long it's going to be for. Overcalled there, and the score is 110 for 3. There's 4 overs left, so I would think that 150 might pull Stockton up here. Belmont, as I said, have just bowled enough dots and enough singles to get this score going. You know, you never know what Jeff Ginninan's going to do. He's very powerful, but Flynn Guest, this should be his last one, I think. Cook's 1 for 14 off 2, done a good job, and on comes young Flynn Guest whose father is the real action guy on television, Michael Guest. Terrific fishing show. Hello, Guest, if you're listening. Trent Park, single to wide cover. Ray Cooper fielding there. Lovely length from Guest there. As I said, first time I saw him under pressure bowling in Tamworth, Aaron, I was quite impressed. Slow ball, bowled lower ball, pitches a bit in, but I thought he bowled very nicely and will be very good for us next year with another year under his belt. We, in the 18s again next year. It should be out. Bailey will not drop that. And that is a very important wicket. Guest gets another one. Ganini gets that one up on the stickers. And he's gone for 35 off 31. Big wicket there.
So really interesting now. The Belmont guys have really dragged this back. We're only talking 3 or 4 hours ago about possibility of 160, 180 if they really had a good dig. The 2 set batsmen going on with it. But yeah, well now you've got 2 new batsmen at the crease. Mind you, this is Jenkinson going out to bat, and I've personally witnessed a very, very good innings from this guy a few years ago. He hit 170 against us in the game I was playing here. So there's still possibility if you can latch onto a few, but yeah, certainly I think the pendulum swung just back towards Belmont's favour at this very moment.
I agree, that's a big wicket. And Jenkinson and Park, both of them have to get set now. And this is one of the challenges in T20, Aaron, is you can't afford the time to set. You've got to go and play. You've got to play shots. You've got to at least get singles going, get bat on ball, get the brain in gear right away. The match awareness in a shortened game is heightened. I mean, doubles or triples. Your match awareness of what you need to do, how you need to go about it. And it's interesting, Guest has bowled all 3 or 4 balls that he's bowled to Ganini in this spell, when he's bowled short to him, Ganini wasn't comfortable with it. In fact, got out from another one that was dug into the pitch. So.
Yep.
You wonder if Daniel Foster and Lucas Sargent are watching this when they come on to bowl for Stockton later on. Straight to Bailey mid-wicket, easy single. Again, Bailey, the position, I heard Shane Burley, their coach, talking earlier on, he's saying, sit on the back of the ring, sit on the ring. Much better to give a single away. 6 and over is not a problem at this time of innings for Belmont. Jenkinson on strike for his first ball from Flynn Guest. Single straight away. Bailey again doing the mopping up.
I think even in this situation of the game, you've got to give yourself a few balls. I think rotation, stay busy. Get a feel for the pace of the wicket, which obviously he's doing just a little bit of indifference there, up and down. So have 3, 4, 5 balls maybe if you.
Yep, agreed. Slower ball there from Guest, bowls that one as an off cutter. Park hits it straight to short cover, no run.
Dots are what you want to avoid. So you just want to try and stay busy, get that rotation.
And really, it is drop it at your feet. If you can't get boundaries, drop the ball at your feet, because the singles are everywhere here, and that's as I said, Belmont are happy with for singles to go at every ball here, and that's exactly what he's got to go. Jenkinson here, well backed up there, the short fine leg. Probably I reckon that the way they're looking, there was a run out on there. Park gets the single off the last ball. Again, he was in all sorts of trouble there. So Guest ends up with a very fine spell of 2 for 20 off 4. And it's 114 for 4 with, I believe, 3 overs. Yeah, there's only 114 it is. 3 overs left. Now, who's going to bowl here? Cook's got overs left. Bailey's got at least 1 left. Oh, Muddle. I think Lukey Muddle's coming on from the Stockton Bowling Club end, sorry.
The scorers have put Cook, but I think they will change that to Muddle. I think you're right. That is.
Got a message here from someone that would know. Thank you, Marcus Hander. Slight injury for Ray Cooper there. Okay. Yep. Not the first time he's had that particular injury either. But yeah, thank you, Marcus, for that. Hope you're well, mate.
I've just perused my phone as well, mate. I've had a few messages come through. Lots
of people are any of them printable? Are they printable?
They're not that exciting to share. But no, people listening in and watching.
Are they?
So
don't tell me. Just give this people.
Oh, you got Adrian Chad.
G'day, Chatty. How are you, mate?
He's looking at coming out later today. We've got Steve Elliott, who's the chairman of our Suburban District's Ops Committee.
What did Chatty say? I'm interested to see what the great man said. He's always got an opinion.
Chatty, he just, effectively I checked in to see if he was heading out here today, and he's had a look in, but he said he'll head out later this afternoon.
I know I don't want to take a train of thought away. What's the score?
Full toss there to Jenkinson. He gets it out to the deep cover fence and gets 2 runs with a fully. Aaron will give you the score now, sir.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know you were on that. What's it say, Sonny? I can't see. What's it say?
So the score check here, it's 4 for 115, I think. Oh, we might have just frozen. No, Ginning's out. So he was out as the last batsman.
Okay, thanks, mate.
Jenkinson drops the ball down to short cover and gets a single.
Just had some obliging spectators
Yes.
come and approach us like we were the scorers there, but that's okay. Happy to help them.
117 for 4. Muddle bowling the 18th over. As I said, Aaron, Park loves to go inside out over the cover. That's one of his go-to areas when he goes. That might be a wide, it
A
is.
little too wide. Yeah, well, Park is, what's he, 7 off 9. He's probably the guy I'd think now needs to just probably progress the game a little bit here. Let Jenkinson have a few more and then like to see him latch onto a few. Can hit a big ball.
And not given out, caught behind.
Interesting. I don't think he's hit that.
Yeah, look, it's certainly interesting. It actually dug in the pitch again. It's slow off the pitch.
That's what I mean. I actually think it's gone over the bat by quite a way. Wasn't a very convincing appeal, I must admit.
Just the bowler on the keeper. And again, we're doing well to have cricket here at all at the moment. There's been a lot of wet weather in the last 4 or 5 days in the Newcastle region, and I do mean a lot. Park hits into the area where I indicated he was strong. Bailey on sweeping well at short cover. Jenkinson put back into his crease. Just a single. There's been no boundaries for a considerable period of time here, and that's got Belmont right back. I would suggest at the moment they're actually slightly on top. They've done so well with reducing boundaries and bowling dots in these last 3 or 4 overs. Muddle to Jenkinson. Jenkinson charges. Manages
Good
to get it down to long off. Yeah, it was lovely timing. He times the ball beautifully up. I wasn't at the club, Aaron, when he made that 170, but I've heard people talk about it. They said that day he got to a certain point and his timing was sensational.
He just didn't. Yeah, we actually had him caught on an A ball very early in the innings.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah, so
Osland or Weeksy or who was it?
it's Corey Picarillo was our bowler
Picarillo,
actually. Yeah, so he overstepped. He loved overstepping. Picarillo, he bowled probably 4 or 5 no balls and over actually. But
Sounds like Lenny Pascoe when I was growing up.
no, but yeah, so we had him caught out, probably before he was 20, and he made us pay 170 he went on with. I'll talk you through his wicket later.
Was Aaron Gray bowling?
I wasn't bowling, but I was the fielder.
It wasn't off Paul Toole bowling at 35 kilometres an hour. The hand grenades, was it?
Might have been a post-Tooley. Maybe it was in that couple of years where Tooley didn't play. Joey Price would have been our skipper.
Jenkinson gets a full toss down to long on. Is Park going to come back for 2? No. Waiting for a misfield, doesn't get it.
Yeah, you had a bunch of guys sitting under your tree of knowledge over here, and I was fielding on the boundary down here, and Jenkins hit one, and I've come running around, and in as fast as I can come running around anyway, and a full stretch dive, took it one-handed in front of the guys at front of the tree of knowledge, and they'd been giving it to me all day. Oh, that's going to
That's 6. That's right at us. Aaron's looking to catch that, but can't get it. He's held back by his mic. And that's the 6. That's the boundary that Stockton was certainly looking for.
So the guys under the tree of knowledge, as you know, they enjoy their afternoon here.
Have they had a beverage or 3, Aaron?
Maybe a few, but they were giving it to me, absolutely giving it to me. Anyway, I took this catch, and to their credit, they all went, that was just amazing, mate, well done.
Well done.
Firstly, was surprised you got there, but secondly, I've held onto it, and I must say, certainly not known for my catching abilities, so I'll take it. But no, take nothing away, 170, it was a magnificent innings.
Dot ball there from Bailey, comes back well. Now, my memory's a little bit sketchy, but I reckon you might have taken a catch in Toronto's first grade premiership grand final win. Did you take a catch in that game? Just got a funny feeling there might have been a caught grey bowled Lee or caught grey bowled Charlton.
No.
Does it sound familiar? It's in the slips area?
Not in...
In the actual GF. I thought you might have taken one.
You're testing my memory there. I usually remember them. There's not a heap of them. Yeah, it might have, we played 3 games in a row at number 1 Sports Ground. You know, sometimes they all sort of blend in.
Yeah.
But I definitely did take one in the slips there. I thought it might have been the semi-final.
Okay.
When we beat Charlestown, but yeah. Anyway, good memories.
Brendan Charlton and Griffin Lee producing 2 in it, probably the best innings of their life, I'd imagine.
Oh, absolutely.
Under extraordinary pressure.
Yeah.
One of the great grand finals that one was.
And yeah, obviously both of those guys did the business with the ball throughout the season, but in that match in particular, I think Griff took a fifer in the semi-final. So.
Griffin was one of the at that stage. He was one of the form quicks in all of Newcastle. Right there, he just came in.
Had a great season.
Especially the back half of the season. I think it's got 8 for at one stage for Toronto.
He did. He got 8 for against Merriweather. So a very good Merriweather team, obviously.
Another top edge from Park gets a top edge. That one goes fine. Score check is 4 for 130 with 4 for 132 with 7 balls left. That one's gone straight up. That should be a catch. Should not be dropped, and isn't. Park they take a nice comfortable catch there. Ray Cooper, I'd suggest. So now, interestingly, that is there one ball left, or is that over? It might be over actually, and that will mean that the new batsman Lucas Sargent will take strike. So it's 5 for 132. Again, Aaron and I were talking earlier on about a 160, and they're 145, 143 is going to pull them up here.
I think, look, credit to Belmont obviously pulling this back, but I just think it emphasises it's probably a little more difficult than we might even think, and it probably puts a lot of emphasis on how well Stockton batted in those first 8 to 10 overs.
Yeah, when we were saying they were going at 8, 9 and over, they certainly put the foot down.
Yeah, so I think target a bowl out, of course, but a little bit under par from what we thought, but. The wicket doing some interesting things, only mildly, and we'll see how they bowl on it when they get out here. Certainly blue sky overhead again, which is nice to see. As you say, it is sort of not sure for how long, but we've got it for now. It's increased that humidity again.
Although we've got a lovely little breeze coming in here through the side, haven't we, Aaron? Just a nice little breeze that we're picking up. It's quite pleasant here in commentary. Muddle by the last over. Sargent gets the first one and whacks it to the cover fence. Looks like he's going to come for a double. Jenkinson pushes hard and they get the double. The 2 runs there to Sargent off his first rock. 134 for 5. 5 balls to go in the innings. Sargent as well loves to hit through cover. Straights, normally he's going, he might target that over that short cover field when he gets a chance. And bowled, well done Muddle. Jake Hainsworth going out to face the last couple of balls, and his job will purely be to get Sam Jenkins in the strike. Hainsworth more of a nudger and grafter, and he'll be looking to get his single. So it's 6 for 134 with 4 to go. Belmont, for mine, have done very well in the last 7 or 8 overs in particular. They've royally dragged them back. They got rid of Jared Humphreys and Jeff Kinnan at exactly the right time.
So in the innings break, Dave, do you think we're likely to get a player just for a quick chat?
Yeah, see if I can go grab someone quickly. Get the lapel on them. You might even have a catch up with one of them. I'll see if I can get someone.
Single.
Manchester United tactics there from Muddle. Can't hit, a bit like Manchester United last week against Sheffield United, couldn't hit a target. Single to Hainsworth, giving Jenkinson the strike. That was Hainsworth's one job.
And 3 balls to go.
3 to go. Jenkinson on strike. So just to give you the deep fields when it's sweeping cover, long off, long on, deep square, and a finish third man. Jenkinson facing Muddle. Jenkinson hits that one straight. Gets one. Hainsworth's got to go. There's been a misfield. Does get the double. Good awareness there, Jake Hainsworth. Yep. Lovely bowling, Muddle. Gets that right in the block hole. Jenkinson, all he can do is get it back to Muddle. Stockton, New South Wales and Newcastle captain Nick Foster joining us just briefly on the microphone. Good morning, Nicholas.
Morning, Redders. Aaron, how you guys going?
Good, thank you. Pitch a little bit slow. Whenever the quicks dig the ball in, it's not easy to hit.
No, and I think probably given the amount of rain we've had over the last sort of 3 or 4 days, I think we're probably lucky to be playing some cricket. So all things considered, it's pretty good. It's certainly tough batting conditions, but all things being equal, it's good to be playing some cricket.
It is indeed. 139 Stockton finish up. Sam Jenkinson gets 2 off the last ball with a towering shot, like a 9-iron at Newcastle Golf Course. So 139 is the total, and Belmont will be out in a few minutes to chase 140. Yeah, Aaron was telling me earlier on, cricket's off all day at Kahaiba, and the morning set at Townsend was also called off with the wet deck. So we've done very well. A lot of work's been done the last 48 to 72 hours here. The curator, Trevor Thomas, deserves a big credit, and a lot of other people yesterday making sure covers are on off to try and get us some cricket.
Absolutely. So I think we're really fortunate as a club to have good people working hard to get cricket on. So look, it's good to be playing. We were fortunate enough to play cricket here all day yesterday. So sort of looking forward to a nice day now. The weather looks like it's clearing, and hopefully that 139 might be enough. Hopefully, I think it's quite happy with that total.
So Jared Humphries 42, Jeff Gideon 35, Keith Moody 23, Trent Park 18. Flynn Guest the best of bowlers. I thought it was quite impressive. 2 for 20, 1 for 14 for Alex Cook, Dan Bailey 1 for 25, and Luke Muddle 1 for 27. Interesting, they might have got their calculations wrong. I thought that Bailey needed to bowl 2 of the last 3 overs, given that he's a specialist death bowler. Anyway, 140 is going to be a good target later on this morning. And how are you trolling, mate? You played a lot of cricket of late. How are you going? All right?
I'm good. It's nice to. I shouldn't say it after yesterday having a washout, but it was nice to have a day off.
Yes.
But yeah, looking forward to getting back into it today and hopefully get a couple of wins.
Yeah, absolutely. Hello, Michael. How are you? Michael Guest. Good to see you, mate. Good, thank you. So you got a couple of big just before you go. A couple of big days coming up. Cricket next week against Waratah, and then Plan B finals at the SCG on the 8th of February.
Yeah, that'll be good. Be good for Newcastle cricket. We've obviously got the Lake Mac Attack and the Blasters both in the finals day for the first time. So that's really positive things for Newcastle cricket. A bit of a shame we can't meet in the final. Funnily enough, it's turned out that way, but it is good for Newcastle cricket, and it'll be a good day for everyone down there.
Mate, I know you've got to go. Thanks for your time. Good luck this afternoon. Thank you. Aaron, we might have a short break and come back with our viewers shortly, just to give us a little bit of time just to have a breather. Back with you shortly at Lynn Oval.
So the fielders and batters return into the field here. Stockton will be defending 139. Belmont out in pursuit. Their opening batsmen Greg Hunt and Luke Muddle.
Flynn Guest's going to come and join us in a little while, Aaron, to have a bit of a catch up shortly.
Excellent, that'd be great.
Good to be here with Aaron Gray, one of my good friends in cricket. We go back a fair way, and he's done wonderful things for Newcastle cricket for many years. And fantastic to have this service available to everybody. Kath Pink, thank you very much for your message. No catches for Aaron. Again, Redden getting it wrong. I'm sure that Kathleen has gone on and checked the My Cricket for us. Hello, dear Kathleen. Hope you're well. Looking forward to seeing you at the SCG in a few days. Kath's the scorer, of course, for her beloved Lake Mac attack. And
Charlestown Cricket Club as well.
Charlestown, Charlestown icon would be. Yeah, there's a few legends of that club: Hilly, Ollie, and Kathleen Pink. I think it's 32 years this year, Kath. I think is from what Kath told me recently with the club. Just a wonderful person, great cricket person. Just about to get going. Lucas Sargent has the new ball here, and Luke Muddle's the non-striker, and on strikes Greg Hunt, former New South Wales country player. Serious talent in his day. Sargent to Hunt, first ball. Gets a ball short to backward point, over to Moody, no run. Aaron, do you, will there be, again, I'm genuinely asking, will there be live streaming at some sort, at the quarters next week somewhere? Has that been sorted?
Yeah, absolutely. We're just waiting on the fixtures to be announced as to where we'll stream from.
Yep.
But yeah, we'll be looking to...
Again, ball dug in the pitch a bit, bouncing a bit slowly.
Bit of an appeal there, yeah. But yeah, we'll definitely be streaming from a venue. If there's 2 games on that day, it'd be great to get 2 games. Then obviously we'll be streaming the semi-final into the final the following week, which will be a fantastic day of T20 cricket. We get to the pointy end of the competition.
On Valentine's Day.
Probably no better way to spend Valentine's Day, Redders.
Couldn't think of a better thing myself. Lovely shot, late cut from Greg Hunt.
Interestingly, the outfield has just flown to the fence. So based on what we saw in the first innings, the heat is just starting to have an impact on drying that ground out. So
if you'd have come here a couple of weeks ago before that rain, the outfield was very quick.
Yeah.
A very beautiful condition. The ground here is actually in very good nick.
Yep.
They look after it very well, this place. NCC Summer Bash coming to you from Linoval and Stockton. Belmont none for 4, chasing 140. Greg Hunt gets a short one off his hip. Is there going to be 2 consecutive boundaries? It is not. James Beattie picks it up on the square leg fence. None for 6. Hunt 6 not out.
The sun's beaming now. It's been out for, well, a good half an hour this session, this stint, the sun being out. So looks like it's going to stay away and we're going to get through deep into this match.
Goes straight there, Hunt. Gets a cheeky single. Good cricket, Greg Hunt. And it's none for 7 in the first over. Good start for Belmont.
Would have been tight if there was a direct hit there, I would have thought.
I reckon he was home. I reckon he called that single as confident of getting there. For a decent sized man, Hunt's actually quite a good runner between wickets. Muddle, who bats a little bit lower down the order in the longer forms of the game, can give the ball an absolute belting when he gets going. Again, that length is awkward, isn't it, Aaron? As soon as they get the back of a length, it's actually hard to get away.
Just stuck in the wicket there, didn't it?
It did. None for 7 after 1. Now, will Foster come on and open the bowling here? Nicholas, I reckon he will. Often does in the T20. No, he's going with James Beattie. Aaron, he may go right arm around here. That's his usual tactics to right-handers, and try and bowl right into middle and leg and stop, deprive them of playing on the offside. And that's what he's going to be doing. I think he's going to go right arm around here.
Excellent plan. Big boundary leg side here. Really forcing them to go leg side. I presume if he's going to bowl with that plan you've just discussed there. So, yep, let's see.
Hunt, who he can drive square, plays late, and can also sweep. So we'll give you the fields within the deep are a deep forward square, or what is it, whitish deep mid wicket over near the pavilion, and a deep long on who's moving now I'm wondering if he's moving to do the side screen, actually. He is. And that he'll go back to deep long on in front of the bowling club. That bowling club, Sam Webber country there, and I've heard many stories of Sam Webber depositing cricket balls over there. So Keith Moody will go back to long on. So it's long on and deep mid wicket, a wideish deep mid wicket, are the two men on the fence. Everybody else in the ring. Beatty to bowl around the wicket to Hunt. And Hunt gets a sweep, just gets it down for a single to Daniel Foster. Daniel Foster was tuning me up last night. Aaron, you'll be most impressed. He said, Reddy, you've got to give me a nickname on air. And I said, no, Daniel, I won't. He wanted me to play the clever card. And I said, no, I won't do that. So good to see him enjoy himself, and everybody really keen for a good day's cricket at NCC Summer Bash. Short, and he hits the one man he couldn't, Muddle. And Beatty's bowled too short. He's got to get the radar in gear. If he bowls there again to Muddle, it'll deposit him onto the street. Got to get the length and direction right here, Aaron. That's big. Onto the hill, that's 6.
Long boundary into the wind. That is a big 6. That's right up over the hill. That might be up with the cars, it is.
He gives him some tap. I'll tell you, he hits a long, long ball when he gets going.
Well, he invited him in to hit that side of the ground. I mean, if that was coming this way, we'd be picking that up out of the caravans and the caravan park there. So that is a massive hit.
That's in the air.
Oh, he hasn't seen
He's
it.
lost
He
it.
hasn't picked it up at all.
Don't think he would have stopped. He wouldn't have got the catch anyway. Marvel put that exactly halfway between the two of them. So again, there'll be more live streaming next week, the quarter-final day of the NCC Summer Bash, Sunday, February 7. Beatty to Muddle again, short again. This one might be out. That's gone again. Straight over the fieldsman. Big over for Belmont now. 6-6-2. There's 14 off the over off 5. 15 actually with a single to Lumpy. Sorry, everybody. Greg Hunt. He's universal nickname Lumpy. What can Beatty do to finish off the over? Top edge. Muddle's going to get away with a single there. That's a big over. He's going to go for 2. Cheeky. That might be out, and it is. So 1 run scores for Muddle there, but a direct hit from Jared Humphreys takes care of Luke Muddle. Wasn't sure if that was overly necessary. They've got so many runs.
No.
Brilliant fielding from Humphreys. Ray Cooper going out now. It was interesting, Marcus Haynes was telling me that Ray's got a sore adductor. Ray Cooper's one of those unusual bowlers, Aaron. I've got my hands out to Aaron here off screen. Ray Cooper's front foot and his back foot end up at 180 degrees to each other when he bowls the ball, so his back foot splays behind him, whereas most people, they teach you now to have your feet pretty much pointing in the same direction. It's for your core and adductor reasons. Cooper lands with his front foot facing down the pitch, but his back foot facing back towards the side screen. And it puts in, you can imagine at his pace, that puts enormous pressure on his adductors, and that's why he's had long-term issues. Is the fact there's a guy that when we were growing up, played cricket for India called Roger Binney, who was the exact Billy Beeman calls him rubbish Binney on the Wildwater sports stuff.
Yeah.
And his feet ended up 180 degrees like that, and he had issues like. But Ray's had this issue for years.
Comparing him to someone who's fairly recognisable, like Jeff Thompson, I feel like there's a similarity in the way that Cooper's always had that slinging sort of action. Gets really side on and
yeah. Although Tomo had that skip step to get him really side on, like Thompson at the point of delivery was like an ancient javelin thrower. He had this perfectly side on. Yeah, I see where Ray didn't have that back step, but yes, he does. If you ever see him bowl when he's bowling at full tilt, it's fascinating to watch where his feet end up, and it just causes. You can imagine coming in and splitting your legs. It's actually not a natural. Fast bowling is tough anyway, but when you get your feet at 180 degrees to each other.
So obviously we're talking about that as in the first innings we were given some information about Ray with a groin injury right now, quite a slight one, but hence he didn't bowl. So Dave's just talking us through some technical purposes as to why.
Jared Humphreys coming on from the southern end, or the Tree of Knowledge end, bowling to Greg Hunt, straight to cover, no run. We'll get Flynn Guest over in here in a few minutes to have a bit of a chat about all things cricket. Get him to come and have a bit of a chat. Young Young man's very keen to come and have a talk with us, so we'll get him over here in a couple of minutes. Did you want to speak to him, or would you like me to?
No, you take it away, mate.
right
I'll happily give up my microphone so you can have a chat with him.
Hunt gets that one to mid-on, and again, a very good judge of run, and brings Ray Cooper on strike. Just get a score check there, Aaron, if we could bring the screen up, please, if you don't mind. Thank you. Something like 24 or 23 for one, I'd imagine, after that big over. And of course, they did score a run. 24, it is 24 for one after that big over, and they got a single off the run out as well. He was run out going for the second. Humphrey's good on line and length, and Cooper just defends it to cover. Jeff Kinninan out there in the covers. Most unusual position for him. He's been keeping for Fremantle, Aaron, and has kept at representative level as well.
Right.
Drove in yesterday, driven all the way from Perth, and did the Cobar to Newcastle stint yesterday. It's a long drive, Perth to Newcastle. It's serious driving.
Serious driving, then to come and play a game of cricket in some fairly humid conditions. It's
Yep,
going to sort you out.
certainly is. Cooper gets that one to short fine leg to Dan Foster, and Foster keeps it to a single. Brings Hunt back on strike.
Certainly a different heat in Newcastle, particularly Stockton, to what you get over in Perth, where it's quite a dry heat.
It's a different heat from Stockton than it is to JR Ronhill Oval, actually.
Yeah,
They're
well.
very different. No, I'm dead serious. They're
Yeah,
different
no.
climates. And you would, and Aaron, of course, is a long-term Toronto workers man. What do you mean, your career at Toronto Workers, would you have played there for 25 years?
Well, I started as a 7-year-old, 91, so I did 30 years just this year.
And how many seasons were you in Orange for cricket? 2?
Just one.
Just
yeah,
one season,
just
okay.
one season. So obviously work took me down there, and I had a season with Cavaliers.
With the great Cavaliers Career Club?
We won a premiership. Which was
They
great
won
for
lots
me.
of those, Aaron,
They
in
did,
their
well,
glory days.
That was actually their 5th in a row that I was involved with. So yeah, there was a lot of history there with just that team I was playing with. But yeah, then met a good friend of ours, Trent Colley, and
Indeed.
teed me up with a stint over in the UK. And when I came back, I settled back into where I grew up around in Leighton Quarry. So back to Southern Lakes as they were known back then.
Yes, Trent Colley's one of the main reasons that I got lucky and ended up here at Stockton. Yep. So hello to Trent if you're listening, mate. Love you, big fella. So Nick Foster, the New South Wales and Newcastle and Stockton captain coming on, and he's going to bowl right around the wicket as well. He bowls a bit differently than James Beattie. James Beattie doesn't bowl. Guys, Lumpy signalling to you. He's going to bowl around the wicket, but he bowls a different ball than Beattie. He bowls a bit heavier ball with a bit more overspin. There's a bit of a breeze here. See how Foster goes bowling to Cooper. I reckon Ray will take him on. Not yet. Straight to James Beattie at cover. No run.
Foster a bowl a lot fuller too, I think.
Yes.
Whilst Beattie
was dropped short.
Yeah.
Wasn't James's best over. I'm sure he'll agree with that. Very full, right on the crease length again. Aaron picking that up. I was very full there, right on the Yorker length. Might get Flynn over at the end of this over just for a quick chat.
Yep, I'll go and grab him.
Foster to Cooper. Straight to Lucas Sargent. And a single. Well, well run there. So single to Cooper. Flynn Guest about to join us from Belmont. Good morning, Flynn Guest.
Good morning, Redders. How are you?
Thank you for joining us. I'm very well. How about yourself, mate? Well bowled today. Good spell.
Yeah, it was all right.
Good set.
Good to take a few wickets early, so yeah, that was good.
Single to Greg Hunt. You picked up quickly that the length of the bowl was actually back of length short, and
Yeah, I was trying
you're
a few.
actually quite awkward.
Trying a few off-pace balls, bit of cutters, and it was just digging in the pitch. And
Having seen you play, I picked you
Yeah.
by what I said there, and that's a slow ball.
yeah,
so.
exactly. Just trying to mix it up.
Ooh, no, won't be no run there. Good to see you out here having a couple of games for Belmont in ones. It's good to see. How's everything else going, mate? You well?
Yeah, no, it's all been good. Been training. Oh, we didn't really get on this week for training.
Too wet.
And we didn't get on yesterday, which sucked. We had a pretty good start to the second day against Toronto. We hit 271 the first week, and then yeah, unfortunately got washed out. But would have loved to play that game.
Just gets back. Well fielded there, backward point by Jared Humphreys, who Flynn Guest played at against for North Coastal up in Tamworth. We'll talk about that in a minute. And back to school this week, I'm assuming it was.
Yeah,
was it?
tomorrow.
Oh,
Look, I'm looking forward to get it over and done with. But
Yes.
yeah, obviously not keen to go back.
A very young side for Belmont today. A lot of young blokes, which is great to see, actually.
Yeah, good
really
to see
good.
the youth coming through. They're all brilliant cricketers, as we've seen. So yeah, it's good to see them show their skills and what they can do.
And while we're all missing Kusi, it's good to see Joey with the gloves on for Belmont.
No, he kept really well.
He did. He took a
Few
lovely
tough
catch off
chances.
you, the top edge off you.
Yeah.
Joey's not the tallest man in Australia.
No,
and
no,
that was going.
not at all. But yeah, no, he did a good job.
Now listen quietly. Was that you that dropped that shell, that sitter out on the square leg?
No, that was Zane.
It
That
was
was Piercy.
Oh, it was Pierce, you're
Yeah,
right.
no, that
we
wasn't
weren't.
me.
We didn't name who it was. I don't think Guest you'd missed that one of those. Single to Greg Hunt down to mid on. Flynn, did you just briefly? Did you enjoy your experience getting? Obviously, Flynn was part of the Newcastle Colts side that won a medal in Tamworth in January. Did you enjoy the week?
Oh, it was awesome. It was good to just finally get up on everyone, especially Central Coast. That was probably the best day of cricket I've had in a while. But yeah, no, that was awesome to finally show Newcastle that we're capable of winning a comp like that against some really good opponents. It was awesome.
Single to Cooper there to a short backward point. I'm telling you what, I don't think there'd be many blokes around that would have wanted to face Aidan Carl on that last day of the week.
No, that was
he was flat out nasty.
It wasn't dangerous. It was just lethal.
Yeah.
He was hitting that length and everything was just popping and going. Yeah, everything just sort of went our way, which is awesome.
Well done to you. Nicely bowled up there. I thought you did a very good job, and you'll be one of the leaders of our attack next year. Injury permitting, of course, but
Yeah.
I'm sure you're looking forward to another season of playing Colts.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think the older boys showcase what we need to do, especially and what it takes to win. So I'm really looking forward. Hopefully we can go back to back. That'll be splendid.
You ended up with a pretty good bunch of blokes in your room too. You had Paddy and Summers. I think you did pretty well.
Dan, yeah, no,
and the quiet one, Dan Williams.
yeah, no, it was a good room. I mean, good shot. Yeah, no, it was a good room. It was just the week was just like the whole week was good. The experience, the boys, the vibe, all of it was just awesome. Awesome to be a part of. So yeah.
And there's a medal sitting at home at the family household.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's what counts.
It is. Quickly, I think Dad's here. I'm not sure you're going to plug.
I think he's around the side watching, but yeah.
The great man Michael Guest doesn't mind giving an opinion, does he? Your old
No,
man.
he loves an opinion or two. Hopefully he's not watching the live stream either.
Oh, lovely from Cooper. That's a lovely shot. That might go. No, Booty scuttles across and gets there. Cooper looking actually quite good here. We were talking when we were talking. Well, Ray wasn't bowling, and of course he texted in that his groin sore again, so that's why he wasn't bowling, obviously.
Yeah,
I thought he would have been. Yeah,
he did his groin against City the last Summer Bash game at Carl. He was 3 balls into his over, and it just went. He had to come off about 4 steps.
that's gone fine of Daniel Foster. That might actually go and does. That's the short bound. Lovely work. Humphreys erring in length there, and that will be over. Flynn, look, thank you so much for your time, mate. All best of luck for the rest of today and for the rest of the season.
Thank
And
you. Yeah,
it was a
it's
pleasure
been
getting
good.
to know you up there. You did yourself and your family and club very proud at Tamworth. And again, good performance today. You really summed up the length very well. Nicely done. Good luck for the rest of the season, and look forward to talking to you at some stage soon, mate.
Definitely. Cheers, Redders. Thanks.
Good on you, mate. Thank you.
Lovely.
Thanks, pal. Good boy. You happy with that?
Yeah.
Thanks, mate. Thanks very much to Flynn Guest. Doesn't mind a chat, old Guesty. He goes all right, doesn't he? Yeah. If I got Joey Gillard up here, I'd have to extract about 7 words out of him. He'd just give me one of those looks saying, Redders. That's out. And Foster gets Hunt. That's a big wicket. Hunt coming down and Foster spearing that one outside off stump. Well kept by Hainsworth. That's a big wicket.
He just walked straight past it, didn't he?
He did. Gets very cranky when he gets out there, Lumpy. And out comes the New South Wales country player Dan Bailey. And the score is 2 for 38 early on. After that, Cooper's going along very nicely with 11 off 11. And that'll be 2 for 38 off 5.1 overs. Last over of the power play.
We just sense another wicket here in the power play. Probably swings it in Stockton's favour, I think.
100%, and it puts pressure on a lot of the younger players who are going to be put under pressure. And one of the things that Nick Foster does when he's kept in his side is he loves to put pressure on people. He's played a lot of good hard rep cricket, and he'll always try to put pressure and dot blokes up and put pressure on. And you can see that in the Newcastle side. The amount of times that teams go from 5.5 to 6.5 to 7 and over, and all of a sudden they've got to chase 7 and over because they're just dotting them up, keeping pressure on. And he's always at plays, and he even talked to me about things like match awareness, Aaron. It's something that when we work with Trent Collar, he's always after his plays when he coaches them. Be match aware, have plans, and Trent's a big planner. But when you work with elite coaches like that, I know you did. I learned lots from just watching him, just listening to him.
Yep.
To give credit to him.
Yeah, so definitely these, since the invention of T20 cricket, I suppose it's continually evolved, but certainly from a batting perspective, they talk about not losing more than 2 wickets in that power play is pretty critical.
Yep.
So if Stockton can grab a third one here, see the back of one of these two in particular, I think that just swings them their way. But if it's 2 down for 40 odd at the end of the over, I'd say it's probably very evenly poised.
Run rate's okay.
Yes.
Run rate's okay. That 1 over from Luke Muddle's given them time to settle and push them around. Like Cooper's taken no risks so far, and he's going along, that I can remember, he's going along quite smoothly.
So I've just pulled up the run rate worm, which is within the Frog Box app.
Now he's taken a risk. That might be a chance. This is the wicket Aaron Gray was talking about, and taken by Keith Moody at long on. So there is the wicket that Aaron Gray was talking about, Aaron. That's exactly what Belmont probably didn't need at this exact juncture.
No, and I'd say the Stockton boys would be quite happy with that. Particularly Ray's been fairly aggressive, so I'm just looking at the run rate worm. Dave obviously within Frog Box. If people are streaming today, they can just minimise their live cast and have a look at some of the highlights and insights, and you'll just see that red worm now just dipping below where Stockton were at in their innings. So. But the big one is the third big wicket there now on the run rate worm.
When you watch as much cricket as we did as young people, the late Tony Gregg was very big on getting things like this up in technology and showing people run rate and worms and where teams are ready to talk about it. Sometimes ad nauseum, but it was always interesting. And it's great that functionality is there if you're watching us on the live streaming. Hello to everybody in Newcastle cricket, all around the shop, listening and watching to us. Aaron Gray and David Redden here at Lynn Oval in Stockton. The NCC Summer Bash, with thanks to the City of Newcastle Council for their wonderful support and ongoing support as well, Aaron, of this particular competition and cricket in general.
Yeah, we can't thank them enough. They've been really supportive of cricket in recent years in particular, but this Summer Bash concept that came on 4 or 5 years ago, they've got right in behind it. It's great to see over at a Newcastle venue, one of the picturesque grounds here at Lynn Oval.
Dan Barley gets another full toss, so they cross there. Alex Cook's the new batsman. Dan Barley gets another single down to long on. So Alex Cook comes out to fake Nick Foster. Score is now 3 for 40.
3 for 40, and as a neutral spectator here today, I'm saying just a little sneaky nose in front here for Stockton at the moment.
Foster's lost his run up there. Round the wicket still to Cook. Nice correct drive. Straight down to Jenkinson.
The sun is beaming down now, Redders. We're going on about 1 hour, I think, of straight sunshine, which, an hour ago didn't look like it was going to go that way. No. So very happy to see the sun drying this venue out and create some exciting T20 cricket throughout the day.
Here comes the power play. One of the interesting things about this ground is you can sit and look at this direct view that we are now, which is looking west. And the weather will sometimes split. The storms will come in and go. So they can get hammered at Williamtown Airport and at Fern Bay and over in the city of Newcastle across the pond. And sometimes it won't come here. Now, I've had many stories of people driving in from the north and getting pounded by rain and get to the Stockton Bridge, and all of a sudden it's like the hidden city heads are parted. So.
Well, you can see on camera the sky in the foreground there. In the background there, it's that's the area you're talking about. So if he's coming from there, we're okay. You think
Yeah,
it's
that,
gonna go
often it
north?
will split. Yeah, it's the southwestern corner, which is to the left, the top left, up where the frog box signal is on our screen here, Aaron. If weather comes from across there, then you can be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
And anything south and southwest you're in strike, but often the weather will come across here and just hit something, almost imaginary. And you can honestly go to Fern Bay into Newcastle Airport, and they're getting 15, 20 mil more than we are. Foster going around the wicket. This is Daniel Foster.
For a drop catch?
I think it might have been a sharp one too. Foster going left arm around the wicket here. Now, with left arm around, yes, he's got 2 men on this. Here's the field here. He's got 4 men on the leg side. He's got 2 over here. He's got 1 at square leg, 1 at fine leg. And he's also got Trent Park here at mid wicket. And he's also got Lucas Sargent at long on. That expresses that one down to Bailey, I beg your pardon. Bailey gets it down to 3rd man. Easy single. Alex Cook on strike now. Bailey's looked untroubled so far. He's on 3. Cook's just faced the 1 rock and yet to score. Dan Foster around the wicket. Beats in point. That's a lovely ball. Just held up a bit, I reckon.
So Daniel Foster, obviously the younger but much taller brother of Nick Foster.
Who was a very, he's bowling left-hand seam up, but he also in his time was a very handy left-arm first finger spinner. Aaron Gray's making the symbol for left-arm ortho, and he was very handy.
Great advantage. Sorry.
You go.
Just saying great advantage with your height as a spinner. Obviously you get that.
I know that Mark Curry rated him as a young bloke, as a bloke who had a lot of potential, and when you aren't that tall, and especially if you deliver the ball at a reasonable, with your arm at a reasonable angle, you're going to get lots and lots of bounce. And when you talk to the higher you go, it's the bounce and overspin that gets batsmen, not so much turn, but bounce and overspin does. Well, I'm also talking about different level cricketers. When you get to blokes like Ravi Chandran Ashwin, Yasir Shah, Ravindra Jadeja, who are 3 of the best spinners in the world, Nathan Lyon, it's when they get pitches that have got a bit of variable bounce and big bounce that they can be deadly, particularly in the subcontinent. Like Ashwin and Jadeja's record in the subcontinent is ridiculous. I mean, the pitches they're helpful, but they do get an enormous amount of overspin on the ball. So did Harbhajan, Aaron.
Quick single there.
Cook gets off the mark. 140 is the target here. It's 3 for 42 after 7. But just under 100 off 13 overs. That's a big ask. Foster's probably going to. Couldn't quite turn the microphone off there. I do apologise. Just seeing who's having a trundle here. Aaron Foster's got the hat on. Just waiting to see who's bowling here. It's not Foster, I don't think.
Is that Park?
It might be Trent Park. No, it's Paul Kelly. It's Paul Kelly to bowl left arm Chinaman. Paul Kelly to bowl left arm Chinaman with hat on. Gives him a rip. Short. Gets hold of that 3/4 and just bunts it out towards the deep mid-wicket fence. 1 run to Cook. Now, if he bowls there to Bailey, Bailey hits the ball long, long way.
How do you rate this bowling with a hat on, mate?
Paul Kelly, he can give him a rip. He bowls left arm Chinaman, so occasionally he's going to bowl one short, but he actually turns and gets bounced. When he gets it right, he's a handful.
Do you think he turns it more because he's bowling with his hat on?
Oh, that's close, but safe. Yeah, very good, Aaron. Yeah, one of your best. Certainly, the one that strikes me the most in my lifetime watching cricket is that Greg Matthews, particularly when he he's bowled with his hat on all the time, particularly in the subcontinent when he played over there.
Let's delve into the history of bowling with your hat on.
Clary Grimmett.
Can you explain to me why, if you've got a baseball cap or a baggy cap, as that looks like from here, why take it off?
There is no, except if you bring your hand close to your hat,
Yep.
and which I've seen guys do. I've played cricket with a couple of guys in Orange who were asked to take the caps up by the umpire. Kelly getting his length right there, bunted around the corner by Cook for one. Their hat they'd actually flick their hat and their motion of their arm was so strong that actually flicked their cap off in mid-stride, and that's actually a no-y because of putting the batsman off. So that's the only time I've seen it happen. It happened twice in one game. Bailey being brought forward by Kelly. He's getting his length right here. Gets it out to Foster on the ring. Kelly to Cook. Tries to come down the wicket, gets an underneath edge, gets it out to Humphries at short third man. Just a single. Kelly's done okay so far.
Yeah, just on the hat thing, Dave, at training, I think a lot of people bowl with their hat on at training.
You should replicate what you do in games.
Yeah.
If you're going to bowl with your hat on, then do it at training. Another thing that this is a hesitation here. Foster just has a double pump, and that lets Bailey get through for a single. The amount of guys that bowl know he's at training on a regular basis, Aaron, and then they wonder why they do it in games.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, we just talked a little earlier about the no-ball catch in the Jenkinson innings a few years ago now, but
48 off 8 for Belmont. They're going along at 6 and over. That's just unders at the moment. At some stage, you have to put the foot down. Lucas Sargent comes on at the Tree of Knowledge, or the southern end here at Stockton. A couple of grounds in Newcastle first grade cricket or Tree of Knowledge. George Farley Oval at Wallsend's most definitely got a Tree of Knowledge, Aaron.
a few trees.
They've actually got a few trees of knowledge there. A lot of the old Wallsend salts get under the Tree of Knowledge. Hello to everybody at the Wallsend Cricket Club. G'day Pricey, Pat McGann, Jacob Montgomery, Lynchy, Brooksy, Ryan Van Kemenade, who's just made his debut for New South Wales Country.
I'd say Harker Oval's another venue with the great figs there that you can tuck away, but I'd say most of their wisdom sits at the foot of the grandstand.
Yes, indeed. Snuffy and Morgan and McIntyre, all the residents there. Single there, the backward point. It hasn't been a boundary for a while, really, since that Luke Muddle flurry and that Ray Cooper flick around the corner. There's hardly Stockton again dotting them up and keeping them to singles, which Belmont did so effectively in the back half of Stockton's innings. Cook gets a very full-length ball and just gets it out to Park.
Well, we heard talking to Nick Foster just at the end of their batting innings. He talked about the fact that it was challenging to bat out there. The wicket being too paced, a bit of moisture around this, obviously last week. So either the covers have been on a long time this week, and preparation's a little underdone. It's all just natural stuff that happens with the weather, of course. But he talked about having to bowl well, but he was very confident they could defend this total if they did.
He's a confident man anyway. Dan Bailey whacking that straight drive, but the field's in exactly the right spot with a long off and long on. Sam Jenkinson at long off. Alex Cook on strike. Sargent by the left arm around. Slower ball. If that's caught, that's brilliant. Just waiting to see if the umpire's given that. And he has. That was very, very clever from Trent Park. Just scooping that up. That's an excellent catch and a critical wicket there. Really important wicket for Stockton. Lucas Sargent picking up Alex Cook.
That full catch is in full stream, which is great, so it's on camera.
You're right in front of us, actually.
Right in front of us, yeah, but you'll see it's a low grab, so sure we'll slow it down on replay later because it was caught very close to the ground. Just wanted to talk about the field there just prior to that wicket, but we'll talk about it as they come back. They had an interesting sort of field and maybe brought about that wicket.
He's certainly covering. He has to bowl full with those two there. Long on and long off, pointing down to long off and long on. He has to bowl straight. He can't bowl short. And it's interesting when you get Alex Patterson has just also made his debut for New South Wales Country, but deliberately bowls shower ball boundaries, and he moved his field to have two blokes back on the square leg fence. But he's deliberately trying to get them to hit this. So the bowlers are now getting to the stage where they bowl deliberately where they want them to hit it. Quick score check for you is 4 for 51. Bailey's not out on 8, and out goes Dom Simons. So talk about this field to us, Aaron, quickly.
So look, it is the same field. So they've got two very straight, long on and long off, and then they've got a deep square and a deep backward square, and a long third man. So, looking to bowl very full and straight, I would imagine.
And challenging them challenging the batsman to hit over or through cover in the air where there's no one on the fence on the offside from a wide third man to long off. So that entire cover boundary, Aaron, there are 3 in the ring in the covers at point, at extra cover, which is Foster, and at true cover. And he's and with Sargent on left arm around the wicket, it's not actually easy to hit over there.
Yeah, and the wicket just holding up, so you've really got to take a bit of a risk. You see there, that's squeezed out for a dot. So, yeah, I really think great tactic, great plan, and good execution there from Sargent.
So that's 4 for 51. 9 overs gone here at Lynn Oval. And the target is 140, so they need 89 off 11. Just over 8 and over. So looks like Kelly, is it Foster going to come back on and replace Kelly? It is. Foster using 3 slow bowlers here so far. Hainsworth up to the stumps. He's come across from Newcastle City this year, Jake Hainsworth, and fitted in very nicely here at the club. The nephew of Marcus Hainsworth. And Cam Hainsworth, if you're listening, how are you, great man? Marcus's older brother, father of Jakey. Yep.
Oh, cop that.
Yeah, typical Nick Foster tactic, actually throwing it straight back to the keeper.
Yeah,
Bailey's worn out one of the
rub.
Yeah.
Obviously, these two played a lot together at Newcastle and country level, so obviously Nick is Dan's captain in those matches, so yeah, a bit of friendly rivalry.
We'll talk in a minute about how Nick became the New South Wales captain. It's an extraordinary series of events. That's in the air, but Bailey gets it along. They actually hit that quite reasonably. Nick Foster wasn't in the New South Wales country side a couple of years ago when he was dropped from the side to play in Shepparton in that tournament. And that was the one tournament he missed. Came back the next year, and Newcastle had won the state championships. And not only was re-chosen, so I was chosen as captain of New South Wales, and has done the job very well for 2 years. And loves doing it. Still in his veteran years here. He's been playing first grade cricket for over 20 years now. But yeah, fascinating series, one of those sliding doors moments, and it went from being dropped from the side to 12 months later being chosen not only in the side but being captain, which is remarkable.
And a deserving captain too.
Absolutely.
I mean, he obviously played. I don't know exactly how many carnivals, but probably near 10 or more.
For New South Wales,
yes.
No, he's played. He and I have been the same, which is now 7.
7. Okay,
yes.
right. Well, certainly played 10 or more for Newcastle.
Yeah, God, yes.
And come
15.
Yeah. So
he goes back to when Bert Cockley. He was in a side one year where the bowling attack was Michael Hogan, Matt Baker, and Bert Cockley, Ben Warmer, and himself. That was the Newcastle attack.
Handy. But yeah, one thing he does speak passionately about is the Newcastle, playing for Newcastle, what it means to represent your town. And I imagine he takes that on to the country as well, which is obviously a big legacy of Simon Moore, obviously instilled in the Newcastle.
Mark Littlewood, all of his elders, Mark Littlewood, you name all of the people the last 20 years who have been proud Newcastle people, and he's played under and with all of them.
Yep.
Brad Bannister, a very feisty competitor and a bloke who still to this day, even though he's teaching down in the southern part of New South Wales, he's very passionate about Newcastle cricket.
Yep.
There's something that I found coming to the area a few years ago is that people like this, they inspire you and they give you a real understanding of what it means, and they want you to pass that. The thing is, they want you to pass that legacy on to other people, like young Flynn Guest I was just speaking to. Those young blokes did so well. Those young blokes did so very well in playing for Newcastle and being very proud of wearing green under the leadership of Jack Hardigan.
So the Fosters bowling in tandem here, Dave, and they've really pulled it back.
That's going to fall safe. I thought it was going straight down. Might be a double here. Kelly chasing, but very good turn from Simons. Makes that into a double. Again, game after this one is Belmont against Maitland. And the guys are getting here together with us. The Maitland Flood, pointing to his shirt very proudly. Actually, very nice colours. Almost Stockton colours, hey? Great. Maitland Flood here later on today. And thanks to Entire Trades. Thank you. Lovely little delicate late cut. That should be a double. Moody's got to run around his left here. One hand pick up. Trouble if he goes the right other end. No, doesn't get there. Bailey's safe. Double to Simons. He really ran that well.
Calling it down the home straight there, Redders. You made me jump there for a minute.
I thought it was at football. I thought someone had just kicked a goal from 60 metres out. Give me a break, you guys. The hooligans in the stand here at Stockton giving me heaps. Yeah, well done, you lot. Nothing wrong with getting side in commentary. Bunts that down to long on to Lucas Sargent for a single.
So certainly squeezing them up here. Foster's bowling really well to his plan. I think we talked about those very straight field, your third man, your fine leg, and obviously your two straight on.
Well, the only place on the long side he can go is actually towards commentary.
That's
He's got
right.
to go over Trent Park.
Exactly.
He's just pulled off a superb catch low down.
So they're forcing them to hit square on a wicket that's just holding a little bit.
That's the one area. He's got to run around his left hand again. Can they get a double again? No, this time because Bailey's coming the danger end. Moody's quick out the blocks there. But this, the one place he can't bowl is short and wide on the offside because there's no protection. He basically has to bowl either full and straight or slower balls into the ribs so that he actually has to play the ball. It's almost like you've got to stand outside leg stump and make it a different angle to get it over the offside. Single to Simons here. Should hold that one and does. We'll get a score check for you here. 4 for 62 off 11 overs. So just
really slowed them up through.
Absolutely.
Last
there hasn't
4
been a
overs.
boundary for a few overs. I reckon the last boundary that was hit was Ray Cooper hitting a little glance to fine leg, to be honest. And if you're going to check that worm, I'll bet you it's slowly and slowly going under. We'll have a look at that worm now on the live streaming service that all of you can see. And you can see that the run rate. So I'm assuming Belmont's in red there,
yes.
Aaron. So Belmont's just underneath Stockton at the moment. Stockton's starting to kick. This is where Humphries and Ganninan got going, Aaron.
And so it just climbs, doesn't it?
It does.
From the 10th over through to about probably the 13th, it looks like.
So Beattie's coming on now. As Aaron was talking to, he's using lots of slow bowlers. Beattie got pogoed in his first over by bowling a lot of short stuff. Has to get his length right here to Simons and Bailey.
Yeah, the Manhattan tells a damning story through that last little period there.
That's actually a good cricket shot. That might be over. It is. Simons, basically a slog sweep, although he didn't drop down to his knee.
Goes to the big boundary.
Yeah, it does. There have been a couple of big boundaries over there. One of Luke Muddle's was enormous. Aaron was talking about that. That one would have gone into the caravan park had it been over here. Beattie really struggling here. They're going after him and targeting him. Sixes off the first ball of the over make a massive difference because they can get ones and twos to the rest, and all of a sudden you've got 11 or 12 off an over, and it gets your run chase back and gets your momentum going.
So
Beattie to Simons.
Only 16 runs between the 5th and the 10th over.
Oh, well, that's a superb performance. It could be match winning. Good cricket there, single. Gets Bailey on strike. I cannot imagine Dan Bailey not winding up here at some stage. Straight and down toward the bowling club would be his go-to spots. Gets a fully, goes straight back to Beattie, makes him, hurts the fingers there a bit. Sun holding for the moment. It's not too bad weather here at the moment. Cloudy, but there's no chance of rain in the near foreseeable future, which is great for cricket for the day.
Well, we've got a game here now, Redders, so even if rain did embark on us immediately,
Got a result.
we've got a result.
That's direct hit and got him.
That's great fielding.
Jared Humphries, his second direct hit today. And because it was a direct hit, just looking at this, we can
all
see
on
this here.
camera. Nice.
Oh, yeah,
All
lovely
in,
work.
all on shot. That's a
Second
great
direct hit
fielding.
today, and that's a very important wicket. Makes the score 5 for 69. G'day, Josh, how are you? Very talented Josh Travel just arriving.
So I think Belmont's under all sorts of pressure here now, Dave.
I agree.
They won't
Bailey's got to make 50. It's as simple as that. There's a lot of pressure on Dan now, and he's actually got to make 70 or 80, I reckon. I reckon he's got to go back to the 20th if they're going to be a chance. Jared Humphries was the fieldsman. Scorer's just checking in as to who the direct hit was. It's Jared Humphries right in front of us. Good to see Jared's got a haircut this week, Dan. Aaron, he's been having the wax head haircut of late, but he's got it short back and sides, which is good to see. I told him I'd mention that last night. I told his old man at the wash tub that I mentioned his haircut on there, so I've done that. A brilliant bit of healing. 2 direct hits from Humphreys this morning.
So Dave, let's just indulge for a minute and talk us through the resurrection of Stockton at the moment. Obviously performing very well on the field, going very well in second grade in particular, but first grade's well in the hunt, I'd say. One of the chances of the competition this year. Talk about the change over the last couple of years.
August and September 2 seasons ago, we were within an inch of being gone. We were desperate. Everything was looking terminal, and some of the seniors at our club at a meeting, we decided to persevere. Nick Foster, that's a single there. Nick Foster deserves a huge amount of credit for the unbelievable work he's gone. We've got a very solid executive. We've got Paul Robertson, who has been a long-term member of the NDCA committee, and you've worked closely with Paul. And Paul's a quality person and a CEO of the company, and he's our secretary. Marco Caponecchia has taken over the president's role and done a great job. And everybody has just worked hard, and we've built from the ground up. We don't have a big junior base. We've got junior clubs now playing cricket and being competitive, but everybody committed to keeping our club going. And remember, we've been around since 1888, Aaron, but I've got to give credit to our executive, Nick Foster, who I don't think it's possible for anyone to have done more work as a leader and a role model in a club than Nick Foster. And just, we've recruited as well. We've got a lot of blokes coming back to the club, playing for the club. Certainly having Tom O'Neill play for the club is pretty handy, having New South Wales country fast bowler come down from Tamworth every week. But it's just people getting together and wanting our club to survive. It was just want and desire to be there.
Yeah,
it's as simple as that. Thank you for asking.
No, well, it is good. I mean, obviously from the outside looking in, if you like, from my perspective, you've certainly.
I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Well, you can certainly see that. I call it a resurrection. I mean, you've just mentioned there, it was obviously quite dire there, a couple of seasons ago. So I think it's great that, as you said, your elder statesmen of the club have stood up and, and that's not in any way, shape or form a criticism of the people before them. I mean, obviously you had some long-serving committee members before that, but just with cricket clubs, sometimes you just need to get it to click, and I think that's about everyone pulling in the same direction. And sometimes it's about a little bit of luck and a few opportunities that come your way as well. So full credit to you guys from the outside looking in. I think you have a massive chance for a couple of trophies this year if you can keep up the good work. But for me, being a clubman myself, I think it's the stuff that you don't see on a scorecard. You've got the bar going here now, and you've got lots of supporters back at the ground. So those things off the field, I think, are a good indication of where the club's at. So full credit to you guys.
Thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity. Just to speak about us briefly, I won't labour the issue, but as yesterday is an indication, it was wet, and there were 50 or 60 people here just watching, helping out, getting covers done, trying to get it. And if you want a game of cricket, sometimes the weather will stop anything happening. But yesterday it was dicey as to whether you would get cricket, and everybody worked their backside off to try and get. And that's what sometimes you do. If
that's an indication of where it's
at. That would not have happened 2 seasons ago. So thank you for the opportunity of talking about it. As I said, I won't labour the issue, but I'm very proud of my association with this club in the little bit that I do. But there's people been people at this club for 25 and 30 years. They're our life members, and that they have made our club and kept our club going for all these young people. And again, the people of my agents and all those club people, we're guardians of this club. We're trying to create a legacy so that all the young people coming out, we've got a stack of blokes between 19 and 25 and 26, they're going to be the future of our club. And it's about doing that. And you know that from being a very good clubman yourself at Southern Lakes and now called Toronto Workers. Sometimes it's just 2 or 3 people getting together saying, we want to continue, we want to survive, this is the direction we're going. Toronto, as you know, has done a huge amount of work with its academies and things like that, and developing people over years, and you've got a great growth area down there and on that area of Lake Macquarie. And they should, it's been wonderful that's been done at that club.
Great. Well, it's great to hear Stockton, bringing the kid down from the North Coast. So things like that are great. I mean, the catchment area is almost, the one similarity I would say between Toronto and Stockton is that your boundaries are endless because you can go as far south or as far north based on your location. So, and I think it's a great opportunity for players in Port Macquarie, for example, to get an opportunity to come in here, and Stockton should be the club they come to. So, well done. We've had a history of players come from the Taree area and go and play for uni and all that sort of stuff. That's great as well. But yeah, it's good. So well done. Full credit to you guys, and look forward to watching the pointy end of the season and see if you guys can be in the mix, which I think personally you can be.
Thank you. Paul Kelly back on now at the bowling club end. Score check, please, Aaron.
So it is 5 for 75. We've got 7 to go.
Really need to get a move on.
Yeah, 7 overs to go for what, 65? Is my maths right there? 65 to win.
It's not outside the realms. That's, 65 off 7 is not outrageous. It's tough, not outrageous.
You just need someone
It's
to...
wide, got to be. Yeah, try to bowl the wrong one there and it come out too far outside off stump.
Bailey the key.
100%. Absolutely Bailey. He's got to go. He's held off, actually. He's played very correctly, basically, and stayed there. That's a wrong one. Almost unpickable, his wrong one is at times. And on this sort of a pitch, you're actually best off with his wrong one, is sitting on it and just waiting to see. You've actually got enough time to wait and see which way it's going, but he does have a very handy wrong one. Left-arm Chinaman bowlers can cause all sorts of problems. That's a full toss. That's actually a waist-high full toss.
That'll be a no ball.
And will be a lock and load.
Should be a no ball, it is too, and a free
So
hit
it's a
will
no
come
ball
up.
and 4 and a free hit. It's a no ball and 4 and a free hit.
The umpire will
The
signal a free
standing
hit.
umpire's got to call the no ball. So that's 5 runs plus a lock and load here.
This could be a little opening.
Yeah, I'm wondering whether Kelly might go seam up here and bowl this one as a dart. He can bowl seam up. See how he goes about bowling a lock and load ball. No, he doesn't. Goes wide. And that's a dot ball, so he's got away with the one there. So the no ball doesn't cost him anything.
So the free hit, obviously, just to explain, that's a catch.
Lock and load,
obviously,
and
right
that's-
there, but obviously it's a free hit, so you
It can
can't
only
get
be
out
run out. Yep.
anything but run out.
Gets another full toss. The length, however, was almost perfect. It was a very low full toss. It's actually very hard to hit. I would think that he's going to bowl another wrong in here. It is hard to pick if he gets it right. Bailey, however, can play off the back foot and he doesn't mind a cut shot down. Let's see how he goes about it. Shorter, goes to that little cut shot. Quick single. Humphreys off the wrong foot, gets that ball to Hainsworth, but a good single run there by Pearce. On these sort of pitches, it's the blokes that can play on the back foot that can have the most choice of the shots they play, because they've just got that little bit more time.
Just on that fielding there, it was just off shot there, I noticed, but didn't he pivot his balance onto that one foot? He did like a reverse crow step almost. He was running away from the wicket.
That
the
was
ball
like
up.
a shortstop at baseball, right throwing
Just
off the wrong foot.
Pivoted, got his weight transfer and pinged it in over the stumps.
So after, I'll just see if I can read that again. It's 84 for 5, and that's 14 gone. So there's 16, 40, 56 required off 6 overs. That's right. Yep, 50. Yep. So Bailey at some stage soon, I would imagine they're going to have to put the foot right down. However, Bailey is staying there. What is he? He's now 19 off 24, and Zane Pearce is 6 off 8. Kelly gets away with one there with a ballooning waist high fully and doesn't get pogoed for it. None for 15 off 2 for him. Foster will go around the wicket to this field that Aaron Gray's spoken about at length. 2 behind square, a short mid wicket and a long on, challenging the batsman to hit him through the offside. Foster's gone into short cover here as well. Nick Foster, that is. Was 3 yards away from getting that through, actually.
Yeah, it's probably the closest he's gone and not executing there. That was
That's right.
slightly hit through the offside.
It was actually quite a nice drive. It was a nice shot.
Good shot. Yeah.
Jeff getting in quick enough to cut it off to 1. Foster to Dan Bailey. Has a swing at that one, and it's probably required. Doesn't get it again. Bowling into this pitch seems to be especially bowling cutters, Aaron.
Yep. Pace
One
off.
bloke we both know very well who'd be very effective on this pitch is Joey. Joey Price, he'd be varying his pace
he'd be rolling
greatly.
his fingers, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Hello, if you're listening, Joseph Leslie Price. That might be a leg by. Anyone that appeals to that, he might have a second set of stumps.
Was that
That was an
knowledge?
inside edge, actually. There was a how's that from the Tree of Knowledge. I'm wondering how many Gage Roads beers he's had so far. If he's calling he want to have stumps the size of wheelie bins for that to be out. Pearce back on strike to Foster. Again gets the ball to cover. Foster again getting away. That's twice in the over. He's got away with balls outside off stump, Aaron. Twice. He's got to get his line right. He's got to bowl middle and off.
Yeah, he doesn't want to open up the game here. A few boundaries is the only thing that can hurt Stockton at the moment.
Correct.
So you really don't want to let him back in.
Either slow a ball or get it on the stumps. That's the one place again we've spoken. That's held up. And did go to the fence. So 4 runs there, as we've been talking about. Pearce finds the one area that's unprotected and gets away a lovely cover drive.
Yeah, just straying a little bit too far outside off. He's got to bowl so straight. He's almost got to be being
Too straight.
Yeah, middle to leg, which normally you wouldn't talk about that. But with this field, he can't go to offside.
That's a wide. Overcorrects there. Pearce putting a little bit of pressure on here. Score check, please, big man.
So yeah, they're 90. 2 to go in this over. Oh, sorry, 1 to go in this over.
Breeze picking up here at Leno. It's actually quite pleasant here at the moment. It was very muggy yesterday, I'll tell you. And that's a wicket. Foster again bowling the ball outside of stump. However, this time, Pearce snitched off to Hainsworth.
And the wide brings a wicket.
And the wide brings a wicket. Very good call. 6 for 91?
Yeah, 91.
6 for 91.
So that was the end of the over.
In the over, out goes Flynn Guest, who also was being held back at the Colts when he can go large as well. So Guest and Bailey pretty much have to put the foot down basically immediately. So our equation is 49 off 5 or 49 off 4, please?
Off 5.
49 off 5. And again, they've only got 4 wickets in the shed. So thank you for that. Here we go. Here's the scorecard. Hunt 12, Muddle 15, Cooper 11, Bailey's 29, Cook 5, Simons 14, Pearce just out for 11, and out goes Flynn Guest, 6 for 91 off 15 overs, so 49 off 30. And again, that's the way they'll be thinking, is trying to get it down to 10 and 15 and over, but 10 and over they can manage. James Beattie's going to come on now. I reckon that Dan Bailey pretty much, they've targeted him so far, Aaron. I would reckon that Dan Bailey might start having to go now.
So yeah, there's obviously
one over will change this match.
I agree, and it's just when you go. So how deep do they want to take it? Who have they got left?
Joey Gillard's over there still to come.
So
Short still to come.
Yep. So
cool.
they've still got capable batsmen left. And so I'd probably agree with you. I would probably think having a crack at that big over as early here as possible.
Steps back on the back foot. Well fielded, backhanded throw, single to Bailey. 92 is the score, 92 for 6.
Just to not labour the point, but no batsman's really been able to get in and latch onto anything consistently here today. So, it's obviously a difficult task here for the batsmen, but they can take down Beattie here.
1 run Guest out to the sweeper, Lucas Sargent at deep cover. 2 singles so far this over. Job done so far by Beattie. Hasn't bowled short this over yet. Has to get his length pretty much on the crease level, Aaron, trying to bowl up middle and leg. That's big, but just a single. Beattie again not erring his length, which is important this over. 3 singles so far.
So where are you hitting here, Dave, if you're going to try and target
the
a boundary?
spots over Foster at short cover is 1. And sweeps covered to a certain extent. Deep cow. Dot ball.
Yeah.
Towards that telegraph pole in the centre of your screen here, Aaron.
Yes.
That cow, and a bit straight of that, there's a blue 4-wheel drive up there on the hill towards that area. Gives you some safety even if you sky it. Or over short cover. And the other one is reverse sweep down fine down here if you can play it.
Yep.
Reverse, because Humphries is very wide at backward point. That reverse dink down here is the go. Our mate Adrian Chad would be sitting there licking his lips. He loves a reverse sweep, Chatty.
He would.
Guess.
Right, so that's
goes straight.
to the fielder.
4 singles so far. Again, Beattie has not erred in length once this over.
So the conclusion of this over, there will be 4 overs left. And the target now is
Again, Booty getting his length perfect. All Bailey can do is get that down to the swift-footed Moody at long on.
yes, they're going to need 44.
Very good over there.
24.
Very, very good over from Booty. He'd be very happy with that after struggling a little bit earlier on today. Muddle targeted him early.
So they now need 2 big overs out of their last 4, I think, to be in the hunt.
Again, Bailey has done one thing. Bailey's done right is he's still there. He actually looks like giving a chance yet. And Bailey is absolutely capable of raining balls into the caravan park here on this short boundary. You wonder whether they'll target Sargent here. This is the short boundary. Bailey's hitting to it. Score check for you is 6 for 96 after 16. So as Aaron said, there's 44 required off 24, 11 and over. Sargent bowling around the wicket to Bailey from the southern end here, the Tree of Knowledge end. Bowls at full. Hainsworth does a good job actually to stop that going for byes. Again, this is the first of a triple header here today at Lynn Oval at Stockton. The Maitland Flood playing Belmont in Belmont's second game at 12 midday or around then. And then the afternoon set is Stocko versus Maitland Flood. That's 6, that's massive.
Camera.
That's the one required.
That was coming straight for us there at one point.
Was indeed. Bailey gets the length he was after.
So there we go. We need to latch on to 1 or 2 more of them and
All of a sudden the equation changes.
puts them back in the hunt.
Yep. Sargent's got to take pace off the ball. He can't bowl another length ball because Bailey will step and hit it. Very full. Well bowled Sargent. He did a good job of getting his length right. Bailey gets that down to Humphreys at long off. 7 off 3 this over. Remember, 11 needed with par. So a very good start to the over so far.
Very good, yep. They need to probably, I'd be looking at 18 to 20 off this over to stay in the mix, but take the game deep, I guess. You can do it off the last 2, but it puts a lot of pressure on everyone.
Nicely bowled. Just that perfect length on this pitch. Dot ball to guess.
So weather seems no concern now at all.
It's actually quite a pleasant day over here on the beach. There are always places in Australia than Stockton on a Sunday afternoon, Sunday morning, Aaron.
Nice breeze as well to accompany the sunshine, which is great.
One thing you don't often say at JR Ron Hill is a nice breeze.
No, you don't
If there's a breeze there, it's hot.
there's no Ron Hill doctor out there, that's for sure.
No, there's not. Dot ball again. Love going there. Great place. I love going to Ron Hill for cricket. It's just that it's a cricket club. It's a proper cricket ground, and there's something for everybody there. If you bowl well enough, you can get wickets. If you can bat, you can get runs. It's a good place. Some parts of that outfield on the croquet fields are some of the fastest outfields I've ever seen in my life. Got there quick. Guess gets a single off the last one. They just needs 1. So that's 8 off the over. Sargent comes back very well from this massive 6 by Bailey. 8 off that over. It is now 6 for 104.
37 off 3.
36. They need 140, so it's 36 off 3.
So it's just ticked over, yeah.
So I think that if the head's in gear here, then Bailey will be saying to Guest, drop the ball at your feet and get me the strike. Yep. That will be Guest's job, is to get him the strike. Although Guest can hit him, Nick Foster at the northern end, he'll bowl a very varying stuff. And don't be surprised to see him bowl a fast ball. As soon as if he sees someone charging him, he'll spear it in wide and quick and try and get another stumping, as he did earlier today with Greg Hunt. Foster to Guest. Foster bowling at the bowling club end here at Stockton, the northern end. Slows that one up, bowls with a bit of loop. That was actually there to hit, that one.
Yeah, so with 3 overs to go, they've got the onside boundaries, the long boundary for 2 of these 3. So, I don't know, they need to just try and maybe be a bit creative and inside out or something like that. Because they're hitting the long boundary into the wind, which we did see earlier in the innings. Luke Muddle obviously didn't bother him too much, but I'd say percentage-wise here, you've got to just try and find this short boundary. And
reverse is also,
Yeah.
if he can play a reverse, it's on. Gets that in the perfect length. Guest gets it down for single. Just the single to Jenkinson. Brings Bailey on strike.
I mean, this sort of total, obviously, in the Big Bash these days is very gettable. Wickets in hand could be an issue, of course, with only 4 poles left, but obviously 36 off 18. Still well in the game at Big Bash level, but
Bailey comes down the pitch. Foster spears it into his legs and he gets it to deep back square just for the single. Good start to this oval from Foster. You've just lost a sheet there, Aaron. Full bunger. Guess can't get, only gets it for a single. Again, a very good over so far. It's 6 for 107. Bailey really has to start putting the foot down now, I think. He's hitting against the wind, but he's got to go down towards the bowling club on the far right-hand side of your screen where the blue is, the blue paint on the wall. Bailey comes down the pitch and is stumped. Foster throws it out wide, and Bailey pretty much forced to do that. Very well bowled from a very canny bowler. 7 for 107 now. Joey Gillard, who can play, and he and Guest have got a massive job here to do. Just strangled them at the right periods, haven't they so far, big man?
they have, yep, certainly executed a much better plan, I think, early on in the innings. Got obviously getting 3 wickets in the power play, set them up here. And as we talked about earlier, the Manhattan shows us that only 16 runs between the 5th and the 10th over. Really put the pressure right back on the whips. Right on top here, be absolute miracle, I would think, for the whips to turn this one around.
16 and a 17-year-old out there now. Joey Gillard on strike and Flynn Guest 17. The future of the Belmont Career Club, actually. Joey Gillard's already been identified. He's already a pathways player. Terrific batsman and a superb keeper, and he's actually also a brilliant outfielder when he gets going. Foster to Gillard. 7 for 107 is the score. 140 is the target. Gillard goes sweeping first ball, gets it nicely out to Sargent. Are they looking for 2? No. Just the single. This has been an excellent over. That's a superb over from Nick Foster. 7 for 108 is the score. There are 2 overs to go. So they need 32 off 2. Daniel Foster's going to bowl the 19th over.
I reckon they need 20 off this over.
Minimum. 20's par.
Yep.
20's par.
So you've got the short boundary here. I just think that this over they have to get.
You're looking for a first ball boundary of some kind.
You do, yeah. You've got to put the pressure back on Foster here, obviously Daniel Foster, and just give themselves any chance at all. Big ask on the young fellas, but
it is.
Two capable guys.
Gillard can play shots all around the park too. So
very capable.
Again, with this field that Aaron's been speaking about for the last half an hour, Foster's got to bowl at the stumps. He cannot bowl with width outside off stump. There is no protection in front of square on the offside. Slower ball, brilliantly fielded by Jeff Gideon at cover, keeps it to a single. Foster took the pace off that one too. You can just see the point of delivery. He bowled a cutter. Brings Guest on strike. Foster to Guest and misses. Good length there from Foster. The sounds of Stockton. Chips knocked at that that is very much a sound of Stockton. That happens all night. Ships going in to unload coal. The Hunter River Port just over our shoulders to the left. When I stay up here for cricket, that's something you hear quite regularly during the night as the ships going past. Short ball and given. So caught behind Hainsworth, another dismissal. He's had a good day with the gloves today. Wicket to Foster. 8 for 108 now. 8 for 109, I beg your pardon. Out goes Short to take strike. I don't know if Guest's overly impressed with that decision. Or is he looking at the cue of his cue end of the, bat there? 8 for 109. 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 8
So interestingly, a win here moves the Seagulls into 3 points. You would think this will help their quotient significantly. Obviously,
we just sort of got a photo through from one of our colleagues at cricket. I won't say any names of where it is, but interesting photo being sent through of one of the wickets in town at the moment. Interesting. Again, no names, no pack draw. Foster now to short.
so it makes it interesting. So how this Summer Bash works is you take the top 2 winners through from each pool, and then it's obviously your 2 best third place positions that make up the other 2 teams for the top 8. Now, interestingly here, the Seagulls now move to 3 points and play the Maitland Flood later this afternoon. So everybody's still in the hunt today, which is interesting. And obviously, yeah, so a win here to the Seagulls puts them back in it. The Whips obviously would need to beat the Flood to push their claims, but the Flood can also win 2 today to push themselves into 3rd spot.
With a couple other draws around the place, opens up. The wet weather has opened up opportunities.
Yes.
Just bunts that down for a single to point. Exactly the result Stockton were after. Got a message in from the great Timothy Dennis Cox. He's listening in and wishes it all the best. Yes, Coxie, we've been spruiking the plan B. We'll talk about that more later on today. Joey Gillard on strike, and of all the young players I've seen in the last few years, he's one of the top 3 or 4 with actual talent and the ability. This kid can play. He's a real athlete, as I said earlier on. Multi-sport star, plays football for the Warners Bay Bulldogs. When I mean football, I mean Australian rules. BOG in the grand final this year in an upset win over Newcastle City. And a very fine young sportsman. Foster to Gillard, going around the wicket. Slower ball. That'll be a good catch if he takes it. And he has. Well taken by Trent Park, coming back. And I reckon this one's just about done and dusted, Aaron. Another wicket to Dan Foster, who's bowled a very good last over. He was under the pump a bit early in the last over, but this one he's bowled very well. Bowled some slow balls and taken the pace off a few. This one's almost done.
Very interesting how this pool ends up today. Obviously, you're going to get a full day of cricket in here by the looks of it. So Stockton, the Seagulls, have now put their name right up there to have a crack at 3rd spot, which would.
It's funny how things work, because for the start of today, we weren't much. With no disrespect, we weren't much chance. Now, with other things that have happened elsewhere,
yes,
all of us, including the Maitland guys that are sitting here getting changed behind us,
yep,
all of us are now all of a sudden, oh my goodness, now we can sneak into the quarters, and because there's 8 teams in the, obviously quarterfinals, so there's real opportunities, and I'm sure that it actually changes the way that games are being played today. That everybody's now got a real opportunity.
Yep.
Especially if there's no more cricket at Townsend, that makes it really
I
interesting.
was just going to ask, have we had any other news?
I've heard nothing further.
Okay.
Although that message from our colleague here is sort of suggesting that there might be some more cricket off. Merriweather certainly missed 1 game this morning. They'd be due on the afternoon setter, so if there is going to be a game, they may get one. Foster again to short. Oh, he's got a bit of that.
Oh, he's
Be a
not
good
picking
catch
up
if
in
he
the outfield.
Stops short, just a single. Can I have the new batsman, please, if that's possible? Very well over from Dan Foster. Takes 2 wickets there.
So my
I'll get a
phone's
score.
just started going.
Phone's gone playing up.
No, it's been ringing.
So it's James Heath out there, and Short's out there, and 2 great. Dan Foster ends up with terrific figures. 3 for 20 off 4 for Daniel. They need 29 up the last over, Belmont. They're 9 down. The last over to be bowled by Lucas Sargent. So really, Stockton and Aaron Gray will certainly mention the fact when the screws were put on in between overs in 10 and 15, when you were specifically talking about the shutters being put down. They did a very good job dotting them up and keeping them to singles. And they bowled generally to their field, didn't they?
Absolutely. They've executed their bowling plan really well. But yeah, you can't go past that first 10 overs, 3 wickets in the power play, and then obviously really, really closing them down in that 5th to 10th over. There's only 16 runs scored with the 2 Fosters bowling in tandem. So really, really shut it down, and it set it up for a fairly convincing win here, with Belmont never really been able to recover. And I think it's some good knowledge to take into the rest of the day's plays, that it's not going to be a wicket easily where you can play catch-up. I think that you've got to really try and ride your momentum, and I think when you look at the Stockton innings, they had a really good partnership there, which we probably didn't give enough credit to at the time, where they went at about 8 and over for their first 10 or 11 overs.
That's a lovely shot. That's 4. 4 runs from the first ball over from short. Lovely shot off his pads down to deep mid-wicket.
So yeah, I think just overall, Stockton has executed their plans much better and won most facets of the game today.
So Foster changing the field. Up comes fine leg into the ring, and Booty goes back a deep square leg. I can't see, is there a fieldsman where there is? So there's a long on, a deep cow, and a deep square. Fine leg goes into the circle. There's 3 men in the ring in the offside, giving you 4 in the ring, which is what you require. Sargent going over the wicket to short. Makes him play straight. Needs to rush across and stop that to going for 2. He does. 5 off 2 this over. Don't think that's James Heath, but anyway. Sargent staying over the wicket. Strong westerly breeze here, bowling going from left to right of screen, and the flags are flying over there at the Stocko Bolo. It's quite strong now, and that should be the match. Yep. Sargent picks up the last wicket, caught by Foster in the ring. Good win to Stockton there. The next game will start very soon. On behalf of before I go, Aaron Gray, thank you so much for your time, sir, this morning. It's been an absolute pleasure commenting with you, and we'll be back in a short while to get going again.
Yeah, we look forward to game 2 today, and thanks for having me, the doyen.
No, I'm not the doyen. On behalf of Aaron Gray, this has been David Redden. Stockton win reasonably comfortably and in a good performance over Belmont. Maitland, Flood and Belmont to come very soon. On behalf of Aaron Gray, this is David Redden. See you all soon.